Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
Welcome back. I don't know. I
Why'd
didn't know
pause?
you had something else to say.
No, I had nothing else to say.
Okay. Welcome back, guys. It's another week, and this is going to be an interesting week. And you know why it's an interesting week?
Why is that?
I'll tell you after you press 1 in the chat if you're listening to the premiere.
Premiere gang, rise up.
But more importantly, it's not a big Yu-Gi-Oh week, and yet it is a big Yu-Gi-Oh week.
That's true. Nothing like
There's not
crazy
like
has happened.
Yeah.
But there's some stirrings and some feelings in the Yu-Gi-Oh community that's trying to get out.
Many emotions that must be discussed. So we're going to be therapists today, and we're going to help work through these emotions. But before we can do that, I've got a review for us.
What you got?
So, greatest Yu-Gi-Oh podcast of all time. 5 stars from Q&A Neater. That's his name.
Q&A
Neater. Yeah.
Is that like quality assurance or is it question and answer?
Question and answer Neater, maybe. I don't know. I saw this podcast on YouTube and I found out I could just listen to it from my cousin. His cousin's name is Dom99957. Interesting.
I don't know how that was relevant information, but I'll take it.
I mean, you can include whatever you want in these reviews. I love listening about what's going on in the Yu-Gi-Oh community because there's some stuff you just don't hear about on YouTube easily. I currently play a Red Dragon Archfiend deck, hoping to buy Centurion sometime soon because I need a power boost. It's interesting, they're both pretty strong, since Red Dragon Archfiend loses to hand traps quite easily. Anyway, I listen to this podcast while I do chores, and I hope that great episodes keep coming in the future.
Well, I think we are an excellent podcast to listen to while you're doing your chores. So, we'll just keep on being great chore.
Yeah, we'll let you know where we slot into the day. No. I appreciate the review. If you guys don't mind, of course, leaving 5-star reviews really helps for growth, visibility, and our egos. So,
if you want to deflate those egos, you leave that nasty little 1-star review.
No, don't do that. No, please don't. No. We appreciate the review. Also, shout outs to the couple of new YouTube channel members that we got here on APS Amplifier. As you guys know, if you're a YouTube channel member, it's a great way to support the podcast, and you'll also get access to our aftercast talk that we haven't named yet.
Oh, we should start putting their names up on like a screen.
Oh, we could do that. If you want your name at the end of the podcast, a little acknowledgement. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. I want to get like a little podcast like jingle or song or intro. Some podcasts have that.
Spit something there.
Oh, no, I mean, I can't make it.
It's off the dome.
I'll leave that to you. I'll leave it to more practiced hands.
The Pod of Greed, it's got what you need.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. I do want to get some stuff like that and some assets and other things made. But to do that, we need money. And right now, this podcast isn't really doing that. So
it may be hemorrhaging money, but it's gaining happiness.
So your support helps. Or maybe someone will sponsor it. Who knows? Not Konami, though. I would not want that.
I will take a Konami sponsorship as long as I get to know the ban list 6 months in advance.
I don't think they know this ban list like 6 days in advance at this point.
But just in case they do.
Well, speaking of Konami,
we should get sponsored by whoever makes these mystery boxes.
Yeah, the people who make the mystery power cubes. Speaking of Konami, there are controversies to be discussed. So this past week, we found out more about the Yu-Gi-Oh! 10 of Dueling Mirrors.
Yes.
And this week is when they're releasing. So by the time you guys are listening to this, your OTS shops will already be selling you a 10 of Dueling Memories.
And we won't be telling you anything you haven't.
Last year was 10 of Dueling Memories. This year is Dueling Mirrors.
Yeah, the mirrors.
Okay.
I don't know why it's the mirrors. I forget the reason.
So it's because it's like Yugi and Kaiba and they're mirrors of each other. But
Are they
more
really?
so because it's importing cards from the Unity and you remember those 2 sets from the OCG we opened?
Yeah.
Like the Unity and
Pride.
And Pride, yeah. I think so. It's sort of like that.
Because wasn't like Bakura supposed to be like the mirror image of Yugi at one point?
I mean, it's kind of been a lot of people, I feel it different. Like if you're going by anime, because Merrick was like literally a mirror image. Like he had the same hair. It was just like
he did have the same hair, but he seemed to have like nothing in common with Yugi.
That is true. Well, anyway, we'll stop beating around the bush. These 10s are controversial.
Fire. Oh, yeah.
People have things to say about them, and they're not great. As the reveals came out for the 10s, that was kind of the first little bit to the controversy. the tins got leaked ahead of
but that,
the content
that was
creator
expected.
reveals. Yeah, it's nothing really new, although I will say that I think Konami needs to probably look into like accelerating their content creator rollouts for some of these products.
How about we say that after every product release?
Well, I just say that because like things getting leaked kind of sucks. Like it sucks for them, and if you're like a content creator and you're making the sponsored tin opening, I would feel kind of like some type of way if so when you do those, you have to like follow the NDAs.
Yeah.
And then like leaks just happen on Facebook anyway. And so now like your video comes out and it's maybe not as popular, or the information's not as new as it could have been. So,
but you know what I think might help them even more so than them accelerating a timetable to beat the leaks? People actually pulling interesting things that garner views and attention.
We're getting there. Don't you worry. We're getting there. So that was the first little bit to the controversy. Not a huge thing. Then the videos came out. And people have since realized that these tins may not be the coolest thing on the block. I've got the cards pulled up. And I have not actually, if you can believe this, I have not looked at the full like set list for these tins.
Oh, I
saved it to do like live on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna go live one reaction. Card at a time for all 400. No,
that'll be the full episode.
Yeah, there are 400 cards in these tins. I remember before that these came out, that was part of my concerns about them. You'll remember when we talked about this. 400 cards is a lot to have in a set.
Oh yeah.
I think this takes the record as the largest Yu-Gi-Oh set ever, because like typically the tins will have about 200, 250,
which was already too many for me.
Are a lot. 400 is a load of cards. It's very difficult to pull the things that you want. In addition to that, these tins are $22. You get 3 packs. You do not get promos anymore. It's been that way for the last couple of years. And people just aren't pleased with what they've seen. Have you seen any of the openings or heard anything?
I've heard very disparaging remarks about this product online. I haven't watched any openings because I was trying to keep an open mind so that I could just, with a clear conscience, buy a couple tins just to feel like I was supporting. But it's been impossible to miss the impact these tins have had.
Yeah, it's not been great. I mean, a lot of people feel that the tins have too many cards. It's too difficult to pull the secret rares that you want, even though there are good secret rares like in them.
There's also a lot of bad ones.
There's a lot of not great ones. There's even the controversy around the fact that they included the token cards as potential pulls. So you can pull a token instead of like, that could have been, my Little Knight or my Bonfire or my Insetti.
I thought it was wonderful that they put the limbs of Exodia in as secret rares, taking up those slots.
Yeah.
When I think Konami may have lost the plot on this a little bit. The draw of the tins was picking up like meta relevant archetypal support
from the past year.
For the last year, not Exodia pieces.
Yeah, so I'll start with a handful of good things about these tins.
Okay, go for it.
A handful is maybe generous, like the 1 or 2.
A handful needs to be at least 5.
I can't say 5 good things then.
Oh, okay, but that's a couple.
I like the look of the tins.
Are they still rectangular?
I mean, like, just have you seen the image like on like the Kaiba Yugi mirror thing?
I think I've put it out of my mind already.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm reaching. I'm trying to find good things to say because we're about to really tear into this, and I know I'm going to get negative. So I'm trying to really get all of the.
Well, a cool thing I noticed about the tin is you can actually stack this one on top of the previous year's tins. They're the same size, and so you can just stack them up for easy storage.
They've always been that way, haven't they?
They have, but I'm reaching here to say something good about them.
Nice. I liked when the tins had the tablet design, like the 3-year tablet thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was cool. That was actually a pretty cool thing.
The some more like unique design language. I guess this one does too to some degree. I just have already forgotten what they look like.
All right, let's get into the card list. We've beat around the bush long enough trying to be nice.
Now we yell.
Thanks to Dual Daddy for putting together all of these images. I will try to put them on screen as we're sort of discussing them. There's like 8 images because there's so gosh darn many cards in this set. Isn't that exciting? Starting off, what I really don't like about this tin is that we are kind of diverging from what you were saying was the point of the tins, which is like reprint, highlight cards from last year.
Yep.
And rarity bump some lower rarity ones, right? Like, oh, this was a common before, now I can get it as a super and ultra or something like that. Or a cool prismatic secret. So why are Exodia pieces in here?
I mean, I guess they say, well, Millennium players need Exodia pieces, despite the fact that Exodia has had so many reprints over the years. Like, it will cost you next to nothing to pick up a set.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's also other random old stuff. Scapegoat, like...
Torrential
Tribute, Dark Magician Girl. Like, I get that, like, maybe they're
Seal of
Hori
Calcos.
Yeah, gadgets. What are regular red, blue, or red, green, and yellow gadget doing in here? Wing Karibo, like, it's actually, like, kind of insulting. Like, I don't know.
So,
That's not great. Why is there this much of this?
I understand most of these cards, except for the Dark Magician Girl, as being cards used in Goat and Edison.
Yeah.
But I have no idea why DMG is there. Like, that card's not used ever.
Yeah, I mean, also there's just stuff that's like more than a year old. Like, I mean, I see more of these Edison picks, like Honest, Red Dragon Archfiend, whatever. But then I see things like just Ultimaya Zolkin, Ido the Supreme Magical Force. Wasn't Yubel like in Battles of Legend?
Yeah, Yubel's already had a recent reprint. Now it has a quarter century reprint. You're welcome.
Yeah, like, why is that in here? Like, it's these cards like Rank Up Magic, or Astral Force, Predaplant Orphis Scorpio?
So I have a theory.
Like, what's going on?
I have a theory. I'm putting my tinfoil hat
on
top of my normal hat.
That's the prop we got to get for this.
This is a tinfoil hat.
We need
tinfoil Yugi hair.
Yes. That took a lot of trouble to make.
But
I'll try.
So this is my theory.
Okay.
I think, Konami, they know how Yu-Gi-Oh players deck build. They know how we collect. They know that older cards tend to have higher prices on them. The older max rarity versions of cards tend to be very valuable. And a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, they want to build max rarity decks, which means they have to reach all the way back for these old cards and buy them to max rarity their decks.
Yeah.
I think Konami is specifically trying to make new max rarities for older cards.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So now, if I say I want to max rarity my Yubel deck for this season, this circuit of Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments,
there's a new definition of what I guess max rarity is.
I could go and get an old Yubel that Konami doesn't make any money off of because that Yubel has been sold and circulated so much. Instead, I can just get a new one from the Megatins, and that supports Konami's bottom line.
Yeah, so these are all like quarter century cards. Which means, I think, because you're guaranteed one in each pack or something,
yes,
I believe.
I believe you are guaranteed one.
So, I don't know. These are so
bad.
Well, it's just they're old. Like, these are not cards from the last year. Like, why is Link Spider in here? Like, I'd be really upset.
I can't even speak to... I don't know why Link Spider is in here.
I guess...
It has been used.
Yeah, I guess the trend is that, like, okay, all these 25th cards are, like, reprints of older things, and that's just, like, an ongoing thing. But, like, I don't think that's really, like, what people are kind of looking for in their tins.
I mean, I guess people might want the... what's that? That card, the Sacred Beast card that just got limited.
Yeah, opening
the Spirit Gates. If you're gonna have it at one, might as well have the quarter century version. I don't know.
I think that this all could have been like, because this is 50 cards. Like, this could have been wiped away from this set list, and just we have like 350, and now we're down. You know what I mean? Like, because I saw a couple of product openings, and someone opened a Link Spider, and that was where they lost me.
Yeah,
like,
that's a horrible.
Quarter century Link Spider. And I was like, okay, this is really. I mean. I get why these cards exist, like why some of these are really important, like Pankratops or Bahamut Shark. These have been like meaningful cards in the past. They just don't belong in this tin, in my opinion. Yeah. It's
all towards the goal of making sure every deck has a quarter century rare in it. Every deck has to have one, even if it is 2025.
All right. Well, moving on to page 2. These are the secret rares. These are prismatic secret rares that you can get because you also get one of those in each of your packs.
All right, so now we should be into the reprints from the last year.
This should be reprints from the last year. So, and it is for the most part.
We get our alternate arts here too.
A few new inclusions. So there's these tokens included. Like I said, the Yugi and the Kaiba token. These should have been promos.
Yeah, that's a well.
These should have been promos. I think it's. I'm not going to go so far as to say. Well, some people would describe it as insulting if you pull one of these instead of like what could have been, a Little Knight or something, right? I think they should have been promos. Like, it's the Dueling Mirrors 10. It's got Yugi and Kaiba in the front. You get a promo. You get one of their it's something. Also, they have the Dark Magician Girl and the Red Eyes Black Dragon alt arts. There's Tuning, Raigeki, Limiter Removal, and Harpy's Feather Duster. Those are all...
Well, you said Dark Magician Girl?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, there she is. The image is small. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like alternate arts of all of those. Those are cool. NGL.
Would I want them over an SP Little Knight?
No. So here's my thing. Those should have been promos too. Like the trend I'm kind of seeing here is like they're starting to use these tins, I feel, to like insert more like little things. Mm-hmm. But this could have been promo material. Like you could have gotten a promo pack. Do you remember back when like you get like a pack and it would have like 3 promos and it might be from a pool of like 8 or 10 or whatever. That's where stuff like this comes in. Like where, you'll get a promo Raigeki or a promo like Limiter Removal or, Red Eyes. And it doesn't have to feel like it's like taking up space in your valuable secret rare slots, given that you're paying $22 for 3 packs. Like I really wouldn't want my secret to be something that's not even like a new kind of in-demand reprint. So
no, I agree. But wait, I don't even see SP and Little Knight in this picture.
I think that there's more. Like
that's right. That's right. Of course, this can't be all of them.
Yeah, there's just 50 of the secrets.
Oh my gosh.
There's like 100 of them or whatever.
Oh no, they got a lot worse on the second page.
Yeah, so just finishing up this first page of secrets though. There's some standouts. Like I could certainly see somebody maybe needing to pick up, some of this stuff. Like maybe you missed Favorite Contact or Ijarine.
I don't like how many secrets are in, or how many cards are already secret are then secret in here as well.
That's always been a gripe of mine. Why do they, like Kashtira Theosis, just like a random example, or Triple Tactics Thrust or whatever. These cards that were...
What's this guy's name? The Revolution Synchron.
Yeah, that's
another secret.
Yeah, I think the cards that were already secrets should be getting like downgraded, and things that were going to be ultras could get upgraded to secrets. To me, that would make more sense because it's like the ultras from these sets might only be like $5, $10, perhaps $15, and they can get upgraded to secret in the tins. They look really cool, but they're not the highest demanded thing, so it feels like a neat treat as opposed to,
Nightmare Magician is a secret in this set. And it was already a worthless secret to begin with.
Yeah, see, so there's like 2 problems here. The first problem with these secrets is like, okay, if it was a highly in-demand secret, like let's say SP Little Knight, then you'd want it to maybe not be a secret in here. It's redundant looking, and I get it, prismatics are slightly different looking than regular secrets, but like it's redundant looking, and it also feels like it defeats the purpose of like a reprint set.
Right.
It was hard to get because it was a secret. That's what made it expensive. So maybe let's not like make it a secret in here. Then meanwhile, you've got secrets that weren't like, super highly demanded, like your Nightmare Magician, and they're just still secrets here. And it just, at that point, it feels actively... It's unproductive. Like
if I'm trying to pull SP Little Knight and I see a Nightmare Magician, wait, that was also an Age of Overlord, wasn't it?
Nightmare.
No. I think he was before Age of Overlord.
Yeah, he was the Duelist Nexus.
Okay, thank God. I was like, wait, does that mean that you can miss your SP Little Knight pulls for the same card again? I'd be saying, oh God, that still can't happen.
There are a few that seem kind of neat though, like. So this is gonna sound weird. I'm a fan of cards like Time Tearing Morganite getting secret.
I am.
Because it was super before.
Yes.
And it's kind of a neat card for a select group of decks. And it's like a cool upgrade.
Like it is a significant upgrade.
You were not struggling to pick up Time Tearing Morganite, but now you can get it as a cool secret rare and it looks a little bit different. It's a card that like needed the upgrade. Whereas a lot of these cards, it's just,
The Champion Sargus, I believe he was already a secret too. and I don't think he was an expensive one either. Oh no, he might have been an ultra.
I mean, he wasn't. He was a secret. I believe.
Was he a secret?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
I don't think he needed another secret print.
Going to the next page.
Oh, next page.
I mean, anything else on that second?
No,
page?
This next page gets worse for me outside of the Horus engine.
So, one last thing on that page. I do like Bestial Dissipator getting secret.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's a good upgrade too.
But there's like Chaos Angels, like
a secret again.
Before, so anyway, okay, going to page 3.
Woo!
This gets a little bit rougher because Dark Corridor was a secret before. Sinful Spoils of Subversion was like a secret. So like these aren't really changing.
And that's not even like a sought after secret either.
I think it's kind of cool to do the Snake Eye cards as secrets, like the small ones, like Ash, Oak, Birch.
We've already got a hit to Ash. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, yeah, I think like doing them as secrets or at least upgrades. But then there's some like, why is Mseti, which was already like, pricey and hard to get, still a secret here? Like,
and now the whole engine can be secret,
which is nice. Although actually, Duematef was also secret before.
There's no way they reprinted them both.
Yeah, Duematef was secret.
Oh
as well.
Wait, I remember I pulled that as a quarter century,
yeah.
didn't I?
Mm-hmm. Arias, the Labyrinth Butler. See, this is so strange, and of course, like SP Little Knight and Wanted, like. Why? I don't like this. I think that these should be like lower those to like UR or something.
Agreed.
Like why are they secrets still? It's great. Like it's great for things that to get upgraded. I don't. Sorry, I'm repeating the same point. So
I like the fire recovery buff. Mm-hmm. That's a card I just like in general. Seeing it as secret printing makes me happy. I don't. Ooh, I didn't expect to see Junk Warrior. Junk Warrior made the list.
Piss me off if I pulled that.
That should be.
I'd be upset.
This should be in the first section with the other old cards.
Well, but you know why it can't? Because they already did a QCR Junk Warrior.
They sure did, didn't
like,
they?
It was in that set at the beginning, like Maze of Millennia.
Yeah,
it was in that set. It was at least an Ultra there. Bonfire, that's kind of cool. It was an Ultra before. Transaction rollback. Yeah, I think they should just like be lowering the rarities.
Look, Paul, you have Vanquish Souls. You can max rare your Vanquish Souls.
This doesn't do anything for me, and the reason why is because like I already got collector's rare Vanquish Souls, so like I don't really want these
flex
secrets.
on them.
And they didn't upgrade any rarities of the cards that didn't have that stuff. Like the one that needs it is Vanquish Soul Snow Devil.
Oh yeah, that one.
It's like a common.
It's a common.
That could have been a fun secret. I don't know, whatever. Anyway.
Or even Panthera was a super?
Panthera she was an Ultra.
Was it Ultra? Okay.
But she didn't get a collector's rare print. So putting her secret here could have been fun.
Could have been nice. Didn't.
Because what I fear happens here is that like these don't decrease the values of some of these cards much.
I don't think so.
And so it makes it hard. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, Trident Dragon shouldn't have been a secret. Like if they're trying to bill it as like, okay, here's this old ass card from 2010 and got reprinted.
You can finally get one.
You can finally get one. It's a secret rare. Yeah, they should have been like an Ultra or a common even. I don't know.
I wonder what the price on Megaton Trident Dragons are going for, just given how hard it is to get your hands on this card.
I'm gonna look it up. While I look it up, anything else coming?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I can complain about a few things. I'm not mad at the Infernal Flame Banshee pushed up into a secret rare. I just kind of like that. Typhon both getting upgrades.
Oh yeah, because Typhon was also he was an Ultra. So
those are solid. Centurion, they already had high rarity printings, but I don't remember which ones were what rarities.
Well, there would have always been like Ultra and collectors because they were.
Oh yeah, there were no secrets at all. So I think those are solid upgrades. Even if I prefer Ultra rares over like Prismatic Secret. That's just me. But everyone has their own taste and preferences on those types of things.
Trident Dragon's about $20 for pre-order. I'm
assuming 20 for pre-order. Maybe go so down. The price of like a 10, you might say.
Oh dear Lord! So, it's kind of dark when you put it that way.
Because I'm just wondering. Like, let's say you want to buy this 10 because you want to pull a Trident Dragon. If its price is 20 or below, it means it's literally not in your best interest to buy a 10. And I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, hey, it's always better to buy singles, never buy a sealed product. But
it does. The value prop starts to really fall apart. But that's something I'm going to get into here in a bit. But
what else we got here?
Let's Spirit of Yubel, like that's a nice upgrade. Technically, it shouldn't have even really been in these tins because like that set came out this year, but I guess they were trying to be.
I think that might be one of the reasons why the set is also huge. They added in sets that shouldn't even be in the Mega Tins yet.
Poplar and Spirit of Yubel shouldn't really be in here, but they are.
Phantom Nightmare and Age of Overlord, that just...
Yeah, well, Age of Overlord's last year.
Oh, was it considered last year?
Yeah, that was in like last November, December.
Oh, you're right.
Phantom Nightmare was like February. So. Anywho. Okay, moving on to the Ultras, page 4.
Now we get into like all kinds of things that I barely know anything about.
See, these Ultras are all over the place. My gripe with them is the same gripe that I have with the Secrets. These Ultras should be the good chase cards so that they're easier to get because you get, I think, 3 Ultras per pack.
Right.
And these should have been where you put your SP Little Knights and your Bonfires and your transaction rollback and all that. And these kind of weird, iffy, strange cards, right? Like
now they do all seem to be rarity upgrades from the cards I recognize here. None of these cards were ultra rare before.
Yeah, I don't think that they were, and that's cool. Like I plan on picking up a couple. I want to get Dynamondo, for Voiceless Voice. It's a good ritual support link.
There is one, Paul. What? There's a rarity downgrade.
A downgrade?
Yes. So, guys, if you couldn't pull Instant Contact before, well, you're lucky because it's an ultra rare now.
Yeah, and get it easier. Get your hand on that a little easier. I mean, yeah, these are neat. It's fine. I think the secret rares are more upsetting for people. Oh, I'm going to definitely be picking up Vala, the generator.
Yeah.
Sadir of the generator. Bosses.
The Great Moth, that the ultra rare praying will be going into my ninja deck for sure.
Yeah, so these are cool. It's sad when like the ultras are more exciting in the sense that like they are upgrades for a deck that different people might have been building.
Right.
You're playing like Gishki, you can get like Gishki Grimness as an ultra now.
I mean, that's always been one of the benefits to buying Megatins is that you could just get upgrades of all kinds of different cards for different decks that you play. Now, will that break your rarity uniformity in your deck that you already have established, which means you'll have to get 3 copies of every single card that's reprinted in this set? And then you might argue, well, if the cards in the set are worth a certain amount, maybe it's not in your best interest to buy a tin still.
Do you mind if I go on like a really quick tangent about you said Megatin.
Yeah.
And that's actually something to be said about that. So these aren't Megatins. And they haven't actually been Megatins for years. But I think it's telling that every Yu-Gi-Oh player instinctively calls the tins Megatins because we all still remember that time when tins were exciting.
Yeah.
And that was the 2014 Megatins and the 2015 Megatins. And like that was when they were called Megatins. And people loved those so much because that was like back when tins were it was exciting, cool rarity upgrades, good value, still had like promos. And now, like, we call them Megatins, but we're always, the Megatins are worse this year. The Megatins are worse this year. They're not even called Megatins anymore. It's neither here nor there, but I just thought that was like an interesting, because you're not the first.
They're Megatins in my heart.
They are in everyone's heart. But like, we're kind of yearning for a product that's like long since gone, that was actually good. But anyway, I'll take my ultra rare Gunkinsu ship, Aka Shari or whatever.
You wild for that.
Yeah, so these are cool. Okay, now.
A rarity upgrade on the next page.
Oh, on page 5?
That's right. I think this is page 5 or whatever.
It's in the corner.
Vanquish Soul Snow Devil.
Oh, is it Ultra? Oh my God, I didn't know. All right, I'm buying tins now. I have a reason to buy the tins now. That's the only reason I'm going to buy them. No, I'm going to definitely get that. I need my Snow Devil. It must be in my deck.
I mean, it does feel like outside of the large, the big cards that are in this set, I do feel like it still does a good enough job of rarity bumping all the non-important cards that you don't think
you know what
about.
you can get? Like Cornfield Coatl and Mirror Sword Knight and stuff for your...
I've seen things on every page that I would like to upgrade with. Mm-hmm. It's just, I really want an SP Little Knight.
Yeah, that's true. Chimera Fusion, that's kind of cool. It's almost more disappointing when you look at it this way because it's like, I think that these tins, like I know I'm going really hard on them and I mean what I'm saying. Like I don't think that these are a great value prop for what they're really trying to be like to many players.
What do you mean? You can get ultra rare Asset Mountus and ultra rare Rose Papillon.
Yeah. It's just that like, so here's I guess what I'm seeing. These tins are nice if you are trying to rarity upgrade a lot of decks. If you build a lot of decks, there's something in here for you. Probably multiple somethings. The question though is like, is it worth $22 to get the chance at like the ultra rare Vanquish Soul Snow Devil or my generator, you know, like upgrades? It's like 2 of a set of like 100 URs. Is it like worth it for me? And I would be better off just buying them as singles because that Snow Devil is going to cost like $1 at most. And that's like,
here's my thing.
Okay.
I hear you, but think about your poor local game store.
I know
that they got a couple cases of this because they kind of don't have a choice, and now they're just going to sit. And the whole time, the owners of that store are like, "Man, these Yu-Gi-Oh products do not sell. Like, is it time we pull out of Yu-Gi-Oh?"
This is a real, like, okay, I'm going to kind of skip the rest because I think that you guys kind of get the gist. If you guys want to see what's in the tins, you can watch one of the many content creator openings. Lots of people have opened them. I will be trying to pick up some to do like videos on. But I will like keep it $1 here. I think Konami doesn't have that many more chances to make dud products like this. Like, this is, to me, this is not the worst Yu-Gi-Oh set ever. People have been saying that. They're like, oh my God, it's the worst set ever. I disagree. There are good rarity upgrades. This is cool. But I think that the value prop just doesn't, I'm not feeling it. Like, I'm just not. Like, I don't know. What do you...
Just focus on the fact that you can get a 1/4 century Dark Magician Girl.
Yay!
Or a 1/4 century left leg of Exodia.
So how do you improve these products if you're Konami? Like,
so
we've bitched long enough. What do you do?
Players need to feel like there is a fair chance that they will see the cards that they want. It's not a secret what cards players want. You can look at what's in demand on TCG Player and what cards have the highest prices to know what cards like players want. They just want a higher chance at those. They don't really want the common cards. They don't even, a lot of those ultra rares they still don't want. Yeah. Shrink the set down.
Yeah.
Like, just cut out, because 400 cards, come on, it's obscene. 400 cards tells me that they were lazy. 400 cards tells me that they just kind of threw a lot in. They just threw things in there, and they didn't actually care.
I think that these 1/4 century secrets could just go. That's 50 cards out the pool right there. I really, you know,
cut out the common cards.
If somebody wants to argue with me, I'm willing to. I want to hear, like, who is excited to pull a QCR Link Spider? If someone like truly is, like Black Winged Dragon, like Yellow Gadget QCR, like I'm just,
all right. Look, we're not doing gadgets
more than your hobby league.
We're not.
Like, I don't know. And so it's kind of like, I think that these 50 cards can just go. Just take these out. And like, now you're down at 350. I still think there's more shrinking can be done from 350, but like these don't belong in a tin. People are buying these tins to get SP Little Knights. They want like reprints of expensive stuff they could not play last year.
And people want
like Snake Eye things, whatever.
Archetypal cards as well. Why is Rose Papillon and Asset Mountus in this set? They were not desirable in the set they came out in. They are not desirable now. Like,
I don't mind those.
These one-off cards need to go. This is bloat, pure and simple.
I think that the bloat to me is when a card is the same rarity as the initial printing. I think that's where it's just like, what are we doing?
But think about it. Your Snow Devils, which rightfully came out last year, which got a meaningful upgrade that you would like, can get replaced with an Asset Mountus that no one's ever wanted.
Well, here's my thing, though. At least the Asset Mantis or whatever, it's getting an upgrade in rarity. I have actually seen some insect combo that used an Asset Mantis before. So someone's playing the card. I promise I have.
Okay,
but here is where like I kind of find it more shaky is actually when you get to these commons. You were saying take out the commons. And low key, I'm starting to think that might actually
I don't know why there are
be
commons
an
in here.
answer. Because commons make sense in like regular sets. I think that in products like this, where it is a very clear objective in mind for players, which is like, I want reprints. I want rarity upgrades. I want reprints. So I look at some of these commons and I see cards like, say, like a Jurassic Power, right?
Yeah.
Or like Greed Jar. Or, you know, like just these kind of weird cards that were already commons.
It's so strange.
And they're just commons again. And it's like, cut those out. Just cut them out. Like, don't even bother. Because you can cut that out and like get 100 cards out of here fast.
Yeah.
And then we're down to like 250 and it's just high quality reprints that people want. Like, save the weird anime kind of cards for that set later in the year, the 25th Bonanza, where they're doing kind of the old school pool and the new school pool. Like, make the tins like actually just great again. I don't know. Make tins great again.
These common cards are giving me flashbacks to like our bulk box, and I'm not happy.
Yeah, I know, because they will become bulk. And I'm not saying that every last common in here is totally useless. There's some common in here that someone wanted. Cool. But this stuff will end up in bulk. And the value proposition today, like, I'm sorry, I keep saying that, so I should probably explain what I mean here. You're paying $22, you're getting 3 packs. The set's 400 cards, you're gonna get 3 of the prismatic secrets. And it's just, the chances of pulling things feel so low to be paying so much. And I think that one of the biggest competitors to these right now is actually, you know, they've been doing those 4-pack boxes with new sets now.
Yep.
Those beat these in value. Like, not necessarily always, but like getting a 4-pack of, you know, Legacy Destruction or Infinite Forbidden, which come with promos, by the way. They come with like a token. These don't even come with promos.
But you can get a token.
Yeah. You can pull a token in place
in your
of
secret slot.
Yeah. So, you know, with those $18, not 22, 4 packs, not 3, and a promo, they actually feel like a better buy, like for Joe Blow at the store. And I think that they could actually, in addition to like trimming the set down, you could improve perception of this product a lot by giving 4 packs instead of 3.
I think we're all undervaluing the extra utility you get in these tins as a storage device, you know.
Not untrue. I know you're kind of being sarcastic, but it's the storage part of the tins is good.
It's not like, you know, we don't have years and years worth of megatins that have been storing our cards since forever, damaging our cards since forever, and we really need to invest in proper card storage, and this is just a waste of our time and money and Konami's own resources.
I mean, I like the design of the tins. I like that the tin provides that utility. I'm just saying that there needs to be 4 packs in there instead of 3.
4 packs.
And a shrunken set.
4 packs, shrunken set. Sure.
I know. You're like, that doesn't actually like fully fix the thing.
What if they don't do any of that and just cut the price down?
That's probably even better. Or you know what? How about a mix?
Like
all 3.
Like 22, right? 22 is too much. What if it go down to 21?
Right, that's right.
19.
I mean, I think that if these were $20, you got 4 packs and the set was like 300 cards instead of 400, we might have something here. Meanwhile, though, here's the next little part of this controversy. People have been getting clumping issues with these, where apparently there have been like videos where people have opened cases and gotten like packs where it's always the same cards inside, and like cases that have like always the same secrets and stuff. Yeah, I saw MBT was watching something.
So I can buy a case of this set and every card will be SP Little Knight?
Maybe potentially, if you get a lucky clump.
Ooh,
who knows?
Guess who's going gambling?
Maybe they should be putting like 2 prismatic secrets in a pack instead of 1.
I agree, since those are the cards that people actually want.
Yeah.
You know, you could replace this 25th anniversary slot with a second prismatic secret rare slot, and then maybe people won't be so upset they're pulling tokens instead of SPs.
I think that something that's also happening right now with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that, you know, it's a mature game. Mm-hmm. You know, we're like 25 years in, as Konami likes to remind us. And so...
We're further in than that.
I think like people kind of are at a point where we know what we're buying products for. Like we kind of know what we want.
Yep.
And so when you kind of know what people are really here for, what they're here for these tins for, just give it to them. Like, you know, all these extra commons, all these weird like anime QCR, and just I don't think this is the product for it. I really don't. I think that you can make products for those things maybe, but like the tins have a established kind of appeal and they've lost it more and more each year.
They definitely traded that away.
Yeah, it's not pleasant. It isn't great. Anything else? I don't know. I feel like I'm
all mega tinned out.
I will be buying some tins for video's sake, just for my own posterity. Yeah, that's the word. And I will hopefully get a Snow Devil.
I will be picking up a couple from my local game store just so they feel that, you know,
it was worth it.
Just so that, like, you know, somebody's trying something.
Now, to be clear here, guys, you know, sometimes when we say this, I know people are like, it's not our fault. We shouldn't have to be responsible for buying Konami's terrible products. And I get that. I do. At the end of the day, it's Konami's thing to fix. Like, it does suck the feeling that we're having to, like, you know, buy to support our local card shops because Konami's products suck, but we want our shops to have Yu-Gi-Oh! However, I know what it's like for these shops to buy these things and have them sit on the shelf and rot.
Yeah, they will just rot.
So I'm trying to do my part and help. You know, you can call me like maybe I'm being kind of gypped here.
I mean, we all are.
Yeah, we all are. But
like, you know, you decide how and when you get gypped. You know.
Yeah. Maybe that's the real appeal of capitalism. There's so much to buy, you can pick how
We're all being screwed. You can just choose from what angle.
Yes. Yikes, also. But, okay, there's one last quick Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing I wanted to share.
What you got?
Did you see this Neo Legend Awakening pack in Rush Duel?
You lost me. Oh, yeah. We got
this really cool
Over Rush Rare Pot of Duality.
Yes, and it's full art, and it looks amazing. And everybody's been talking about this, because this is an amazing showcase of why Yu-Gi-Oh! Really needs like full art cards and how cool they can look.
I think so I love the Overrush rarity. I love a lot about Rush Duel cards. You know what my favorite thing about them? The text. The font on Rush Duel cards are actually different. Now you can't see it in these Japanese cards, but if you look at the ones in Duel Links, and even that Blue Eyes prize card from Worlds.
Yeah.
It's so easy to read.
Yeah, because the font is heavier. It helps a lot.
It's really wonderful. I hate reading Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like our current TCG cards, I can't stand reading them. My left eye is kind of blurry now for whatever reason, and
because you're old.
I mean it's probably age, but I hate reading Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
It's just that Yu-Gi-Oh cards, compared to so many other games, Yu-Gi-Oh uses a very like thin font. It's a very light kind of thin font, and it's all in my opinion. It doesn't help that it's also a serif font. It's kind of got little serifs on the letters, and so basically what it all amounts to is like when it's small and it's in that little text box. It's just really hard to read. It can be a bit of a strain. I'm
ready to bust out the monocle next time I read a card.
Yeah, so I like that Rush Duel kind of uses a heavier font, and it's a lot easier to read, better for legibility. So hopefully they take note of people's response to this, because like people like these.
I had this Reddit post here where someone's also hoping Konami responds to this.
Okay, so what did they say?
So as soon as it finishes loading on this tablet.
No, you're good. I always like a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Reddit story, because people have good takes on Reddit. Like, sorry, that's a lie.
That is not true.
Occasionally, you'll find a nice take on Reddit.
So this is by user Logical Tips in our Yu-Gi-Oh! A personal discussion / rant about Konami and the future of the TCG.
I can see one of these every week.
I mean, that's how it is.
Let's hear what this guy's got to say.
I just wanted to talk about the TCG for a moment. Sorry if this feels a bit aimless and ranty. As we all know, there's a lot to fix in regards to the TCG. I was wondering, there's no way Konami hasn't noticed anything here. They're a big company. Our complaints has to have been seen at some point. Obviously, things haven't changed because of money, which feels like, we'll see. For Konami, the TCG is most likely still considered a financial positive for the entire company, so they keep things the same. With the higher market competition in Japan, they're clearly more inclined to implement changes and do risks there to maintain a market position rather than risk changes in the market they already see themselves succeeding in. That does make sense. There's just so many possibilities over where things can go from here. I'm hearing all these stories of stores dropping Yu-Gi-Oh! And that Camel's back has to break at some point. Whales can't keep the entire division afloat. If people are, to be clear, whales are people who spend a lot of money, in case you're not familiar with that terminology. Yeah, if people are really leaving the game and a large amount of stores aren't carrying the products anymore, a number has to be going down on Konami's charts and data somewhere. Either they haven't seen it yet, it's not big enough of a dip for them to worry about, or again, it hasn't affected their current market position in the Western card game market for them to care. But what if their data reaches a point where Konami has to do something? I honestly don't trust them to see any changes. There's a few more paragraphs after that, but I'll stop there so that we can discuss.
Okay.
So do you think, because this guy's questioning whether or not Konami sees these kind of worrying triggers that we've talked about since forever now. Kind of like what he says, or them, I don't actually know if it's a he, Logical Tips. I do believe Konami has to see what we're seeing. Konami isn't just a soulless corporation, it's run by real people.
Yeah. So you think they're like aware?
Yes.
I agree. I think that they're aware as well. I think what I'm feeling is that they either have not seen enough of like a financial maybe loss or whatever to feel like something can change, or it's kind of the age-old thing. Japan, I think they prioritize Japan itself as like kind of the primary buyers and sellers and engagers of the Yu-Gi-Oh product, and they maybe see it overseas as just like a moneymaker, and all Konami's real responsibility is over here is like just gonna keep the wheels on, keep it moving, right? Kick the can down the road, and as long as people are buying and going to these YCS whatever, then it's like fine. However, this person's not wrong. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to see that there are some shops that are dropping Yu-Gi-Oh! Some vendors are, some shops are. We have
prominent players dropping Yu-Gi-Oh! With all the publicity they can.
This is not kind of in the realm of conjecture anymore. We've seen local shops doing this.
Remember when we went to Portland and we had to struggle to find a Yu-Gi-Oh! Shop?
Yeah, and and not in all cases is it even Konami's fault. Sometimes it's the players. Sometimes whatever. There can
it's
be
never
more
the players' fault.
But I do think that like I was saying about these tins, I think Konami gets a couple more flops like this, and only a couple more. And I'm not saying that the tins are outright flops. They might actually sell really well. Sometimes these tins really surprise me with their ability to appeal to the average kind of store goer. We sit here, on our Yu-Gi-Oh platforms where we're making content and talking about it. And we're all these didn't give me my little nine. It's an awful product. But then you know what? Joe Blow, they buy them.
Because we're still, even if you and I don't play that much, competitive paper Yu-Gi-Oh, we're still a part of that core Yu-Gi-Oh playing audience, where we know, even though we don't play like most of them, we still think like most of them. We're not just going to buy the tins because they look cool.
Yeah, mindlessly.
We have the cards we want for the most part.
Yeah.
So we only would want the really hype chase secret rares. But,
for the average person, because there are some people, Alec, I'm not even lying, who don't even know what's in these tins and they don't care. They just kind of want to open some packs. And I think that maybe we're losing sight of that person. Perhaps we get into our own heads. I sometimes think this when I scroll on Twitter and see everybody kind of angrily, dooming about these megatins. And I feel, here we are, we're complaining about them too, right? I feel the sentiment. But I sometimes think that we might be the ones out of touch, and maybe Konami's like, who cares what these like diehards think? Because like average guy will just buy some tins, and apparently they are selling.
Because it is a good point. You know, the Yu-Gi-Oh market is much bigger than us. It's bigger than our podcast. It's bigger than
Any YouTube
It's bigger than
channel.
our Yu-Gi-Oh. It's bigger than Twitter Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
Right?
That's true.
So our opinions might actually mean nothing,
Or not like
or
load.
not enough for them to change product strategy. Right?
Right.
Now, there is one thing I think kind of gets at them. Yu-Gi-Oh players in the last year have been so disgruntled and dissatisfied with the game. We have been yelling and cursing and spitting at any and all opportunities. Konami can't make a post about Yu-Gi-Oh without all of the Yu-Gi-Oh vitriol.
The ire just is
until the
on
ban
display.
list, the vomiting horses, right? I know
Yeah.
for a fact Konami probably hated that because they're doing this. They spent money. They're doing this big thing with the I forgot the name of the singer.
Zayn
Malik,
Yeah.
right? They're doing that whole thing. We're vomiting horses everywhere. Like,
Yeah, I think we have. It's very telling that the ban list is when it kind of really hits the peak and the crescendo. But like, even just when that's not happening, people are never like pleased underneath these social media posts.
I mean, and it's
like
weird.
there are oftentimes there's someone who's saying like fix your game. Someone's like you got and there's groups. Like this thing is there's different groups. So like there's like people who are kind of the disgruntled Yugi boomer who's like Synchros ruined this. Synchros from 2008, Alec ruined But there's still people who feel that way.
Yep.
Or like Pendulums ruined this. Then there's like the people who are the competitives who are like, when are you banning Shifter? Why'd you release Mulch Armies? Right? Like, when are you hitting Snake Eye? Why didn't you hit it hard enough? Like, whatever. Improve prize support. I'm tired of playing for a Switch and a rubber mat. And then there's like kind of just the in-betweens where it's just like, I want new support for my whatever deck. It's been like 4 years. Like, where's that? Or like, I can't afford, such and such card and it's been out for like a year and I just want to be able to afford it. Like, everyone's there, and under these posts, it's like, buy your new cool product. And people are like, I'm dying down here in these comments.
It's like, Konami, we're not about to let you market with like this internet is not free for you.
Yeah,
like
now,
vomiting horse, vomiting horse, vomiting horse, and to some degree, I think that is actually what is
it's got to reach
required.
them at some point,
like,
right?
I think that's what it takes. We have to be so upset and angry. We have to spread our negative emotion to, and this is sad to say, this is not positive. This is not good. But we have to spread that to everybody in the Yu-Gi-Oh market. We have to have, and this is horrible, we have to have people afraid to return to the game. I know that's counterproductive to what we want in our hearts.
I get what you're saying, though.
But in order for Konami to react to what we as core Yu-Gi-Oh players feel, that means the entire market has to feel it. They have to look at these tins, and then the first thought should be a vomiting horse emoji. Like, they should not be interested.
Yeah,
Like,
I knew we'd probably reach here today because it's just not a positive Yu-Gi-Oh kind of story in general. I think that they're aware. I know that they're trying. Like, I see these things that let me know that they're trying, Alec. They're trying. The steps are so small. Like, the Zayn Malik thing, right? That is an attempt. Like, we want to kind of this and that. Yes.
An attempt at what exactly?
I know. but it's an attempt. Like, they're trying to kind of do interesting things. And it is interesting. It's just that it isn't. It always feels like there's just something kind of off. Well, either it's the timing is bad. Like, the timing for that was very unfortunate.
Like, it's
like, listen. I'm gonna let you finish, but like that Zayn Malik thing. Imagine if that had happened right after a very satisfying ban list. Suddenly, it's like a totally different story and like vibe because it released and was like leading up to it. When's our ban list? Like, people are getting more and more impatient, and like it's a really bad format. But imagine if that ban list had come out harshly hit Snake Eye and like Yubel and Tenpai and released like a bunch of cool retro cards and little neat things everybody wanted. And this is like, this widely agreed upon 10 out of 10 ban listed band Shifter 2 and Skill Drain. And like, we're so pleased and Heavy Storm's back and blah, 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 blah. Right? It's fun and exciting. And they even released it like on time. And then they do the Zayn Malik thing. Suddenly, like, people are kind of chill. They're okay with it.
Zayn Malik announced the ban list?
Oh my God, that could have been crazy too. But, maybe that's what they should really do is have celebrities, they just announce ban lists. But like, it's always poor timing or kind of like, or they'll do like these sort of half-step things. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to it, the 2-player starter deck.
Nah.
It's like concept, great. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Needed a 2-player product, like for beginners. And there's not a mat in it. And it's like, and you have to cut out token cards when, you know what? They couldn't put tokens in that. They can include them in these tins.
Yeah, they can.
They can include a token in your tin to take a spot of your secret rare, and they can't put it in the 2-player starter. It's like, it's stuff like that where it's like, I don't know if there's like maybe limitations or maybe, Japan is telling them like, there's just these things you can't do. I don't know, but like, there's like, you see these attempts, but they just aren't quite landing.
Because Konami is too comfortable. Their place in the Western card game market has been too stable. We can be deeply dissatisfied, but their like bottom line isn't really changing. Their market position is not changing. Konami has to feel like they're actually in danger. Otherwise, they're not going to make any drastic changes. Right, and I've met people that work at Konami. I don't want to criticize them, even though I've done on multiple occasions, and I don't want to give them extra work. However, as someone who actually cares, and I'm assuming most of you guys listening care too.
Yeah,
like something needs to change.
Something's probably got to give. And that's the thing is like we both know that the people who work at Konami, they give a shit. I know they give a shit. Yeah. They like Yu-Gi-Oh! They're trying their best. So that's where it makes me think like it's got to be some external forces that are just preventing it.
It's
or something.
So you know how Konami's a revolving door, right? Different people come in, new people come in constantly, right? Yeah. But it seems like the same missteps keep happening. It feels like they're never listening. It feels like products are released without our input at all. If ban lists come out infrequently or not on the schedule,
there's a larger structure.
Yeah,
that must be followed.
It's not the specific employees; it's the very institution and chain of command. I don't know what it is because I don't work there, but something about the very spine of Konami.
Yeah, I think that it
doesn't work.
Do you know what I think it really comes back to? And this is going to be like the boring ass answer no one likes at all. It's just the nature of their license agreement.
Yeah,
I think that's what it all comes back to. And it's something that, like, I hate saying it because like, we've just finished ranting and now I'm about to, like, sit here and say something that just sounds like it's, disregarding the whole thing. But the nature of Konami's marketing agreement, like, for Yu-Gi-Oh!, like, their licensing agreement, I mean, is that, like, they just make and distribute Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Mm-hmm. That's all they do. There is no obligation to do more. Konami does...
Here's the thing, and... Because I meant to say this earlier. The only thing Yu-Gi-Oh! Players truly care about is what's on their playmats, the cards themselves.
Yeah.
If Konami's only job is to distribute cards, then it's extremely easy to make us happy. The fact that they haven't is very confusing.
Yeah, that's where like I think that there are these structures in place, like the way that tins work, the way that products release, the way that rarities go, the way that ban lists kind of are executed, that are just ingrained such that it's not like something where a couple of employees can just be like, oh, we should really change this. I don't think that there's like a system in place for that to change. Or if there is and there's like some panic button, someone needs to be pressing it soon.
I have this feeling that things don't change at Konami unless it costs nothing and gains them money. That feels like that's the only way to get a quick change at a Konami. It's free and they make money off of it.
Yeah, and like I guess maybe that's the question is, would they make more by implementing these changes? Like it's easy for us to say yes, But maybe they have data that suggests that that's just not the case. Like maybe these, because we're talking about like Joe Blow will buy tins no matter what. And there's a lot more like of Joe Blow than there is of like, us hyper obsessed people. So we're claiming that, if they changed all this stuff about the tin, I'd go buying them in droves. But like, I don't know. Would we? Like, because there's already that sentiment of like, just buy singles. Even if the product is good, just buy singles. And so maybe Konami feels or has evidence that leads them to believe that making some of these changes wouldn't actually result in more gains for them. So why bother? I don't know.
Are we actually Konami's customers or are shops their customers?
That said, though, if shops are dropping
because I think
maybe it's not even shops. Maybe it's like Walmart and Target that we need to be looking at more.
Yeah, because the question, we yell and we cry about like Yu-Gi-Oh products, but technically none of us are buying things directly from Konami. So
yeah, we're not their customers.
Yeah, we're not actually deciding allocation. And yeah, compared to the big like retailers like Target and Walmart, even our local shops don't make that big of a dent in the sales of product. And once Walmart and Target have bought it from Konami, what does Konami care how they sell?
Yeah.
Do we start boycotting Yu-Gi-Oh products at Walmarts and Targets?
I don't think anyone was buying them there.
If
they had a choice
none of
anyway.
us. I don't think we were doing it. But
we weren't. Yeah.
Maybe this is a crazy idea. And I'm not trying to start anything. But what if whenever you see a Yu-Gi-Oh product on a Walmart shelf, you just get like a little vomiting horse sticker and you slap it on there, and you just walk away.
Jesus Christ! Don't do that. You'll destroy the inventory. Don't do that.
You'll get kicked out of Walmart. Banned.
Yeah, but I guess to finish my whole point about the kind of boring truth of it is that they're distributing Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They are doing like what their license agreement tells them to do. They're probably doing it to a T. Dare I say they're doing it effectively? Because
we do get the cards.
We do get the cards. Like one thing that you won't hear a lot about in Yu-Gi-Oh often, unless you're in Brazil apparently, is like product shortages. You don't actually hear very much about those. Like
we don't get many delays either.
Stuff usually doesn't get delayed unless it just, COVID was like the one time when that was beginning to happen. But like generally speaking, the cards come out.
Like maybe print quality has been questionable, but no one ever said Konami had to have perfect print quality. They just had to print them.
So yeah, I don't know. I know it's like a dull, like kind of cool off of this rant, but I'm honestly like reaching a point where, I'm just like, I just play my Yu-Gi-Oh now. I know that that's like a sad way to put it, but hopefully you're not causing any tapping. I don't know. Are you? Okay, no.
I might have a little bit, but I'll stop. I'll make sure I don't do it now.
I'm just kind of at this point where you can find yourself getting so frustrated with it. The printing problems, the ban list stuff, power creep, game balance, product quality, whatever. Why doesn't Konami listen? And eventually you just reach a point where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to play. Like, and I know that sounds like, resigning yourself to mediocrity and all this stuff, or maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
I think it is. But I build a few decks that seem interesting. I play Master Duel. It functions. It's fine. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And maybe it's like the best you can do is like almost just put Konami out of your head a little bit, because they will not like, nothing's magically changing. Any changes will come slowly, and if you like the game, play the game, right? Like that's sometimes the best you can do.
But I will say this, guys. People are noticing things.
Yeah, people are noticing things.
I will say no more than that, but it's getting around. There is a decline in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, so we'll leave it to Konami to figure it out. I'm sure they've got this all under control.
Yeah, they've kept it alive this long.
All right, well, that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh for today. We only went for an hour on basically a single topic.
It be like that sometimes.
Awesome. Well,
let's talk about a company that never does anything wrong and we're always happy with. Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering.
Oh, there's Magic? drama? News,
No drama really.
Oh,
Just
okay.
their latest secret lair is themed around killer doll Chucky.
Ooh.
Yeah,
A
so
Chucky collab? Okay.
I personally, guys. So if you're not familiar, Chucky is this possessed doll. I believe it was the soul of like a killer has possessed the doll.
What's the movie that Chucky's? Is it a movie?
Yeah. Oh man, what is the name of those movies?
Like, is it? It's not Home Alone.
No, Home Alone is crazy.
I don't. What is? I feel awful. I don't know what like.
I don't even remember what the old. I remember the Bride of Chucky.
Well, either way.
Anyway, if you're familiar with this murderous doll, then you'll be happy to know that it's getting a secret lair in Magic the Gathering, which comes at a perfect time because the end of this month is their new set, Duskmorn, House of Horror, which is a set themed around like late, let's say 80s, 2000s horror movies, the slashers, thrillers,
Was the movie just called Chucky? Was that what the movie was called?
Chucky. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll get into my backstory with Chucky in a second.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, Duskmorn has references to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream. What is that? What is the Haunting of whatever. Anyway, lots of horror movie references.
Haunting of whatever.
I'm not a huge fan of horror movies. I have watched them, but I don't watch them for enjoyment. I watch them because other people put them on, not because I want anything to do with them.
Okay. So it's a sort of horror magic collab. Pretty fitting in time for like Halloween and stuff.
Exactly. It's perfectly timed. Man, it's like their marketing department is like, no, I'm not.
And they're certainly thinking.
They are thinking.
I do like when Yu-Gi-Oh products like align with Halloween. It doesn't happen much, but do you remember?
It is rare.
What was that one?
Shadow Specters.
Shadow Specters like, lined up really well for Halloween.
Ghost Tricks.
That was a fun set. That was a good time.
But yeah, they have cards featuring Chucky himself. It's actually a reversible card. You can see here, Paul. It has two sides because Magic loves doing that.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
But they also have the Bride of Chucky, if I can get the thing to go.
Tiffany, Bride of Chucky. Friends to the end.
Friends to the end. I think that was like the phrase that he said in the movie. Play Pals Factory, that was the doll line, I believe. Sorry, Jack, Chucky's back.
This secret lair will be available on the official site as part of the. I was just looking this up on IGN. As part of the next super drop starting September 30th, which will also include 2 drops featuring Ghostbusters cards. Like most secret lair drops nowadays, it will cost $30 for the non-foil version and $40 in foil. It'll only be available for a limited time while supplies last. What a cool seasonal release.
So I hate that little doll.
Really?
Yeah, there's time for personal anecdote time.
Okay.
When I was about 4 or 5 years old, Chucky was just on TV.
No.
The TV I normally watch Sesame Street on had Chucky. I have no idea why it was on there. And it scarred the ever-loving hell out of me. I hated dolls my entire life. I don't remember a time where I didn't hate them. Why? Because I saw Chucky. And he's this cute little red-haired doll, but next thing you know, there's a big scar in his face with a knife, and everyone loves the Chucky series. I hate it. I can't stand it because I saw it when I was too young, and
it just set the wrong impression. I have a friend who loves those horror movies, like loves them. He always talks about them. He's like, Chucky, all these things. He'll share posts about like, would you rather be like trapped with Chucky or Michael Myers or so and so? And I'm just like, oh my god.
Child's Play.
Child's Play.
That's it. Okay. Child's Play.
Okay, yeah. I don't really care much for horror movies, but I also haven't seen very many. Like, I don't think I don't like them because they scare me. I think I just don't like them because I just didn't watch many of them, and so like it was a genre I was never really allowed to grow to like or dislike very much.
I remember when I was in school, there was a big one. Let me see. What was the big one when I was in school? It was.
Well, let's look
for
back
some
to
reason.
1980s.
Basically, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I have no idea why that came back into vogue when I was in school, but at some point, everyone was watching it, and it was like the talk of my grade. And there was no way in hell my mom was letting me watch that.
I feel like the closest I really got to watching horror was like, and it really doesn't count, like the Purge movies. And those are kind of more like survival-y.
Yeah,
like
those were fun.
Thrillers, not like really horror.
2006, there was, I think it was a Texas Chainsaw remake. I think that's what it was. Like, I am not the biggest horror fan. Yep, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, came out in 2006. That was the talk of the town when I was in school. And so because my mom would never let me see a rated R movie in 2006, what was that, my second year of middle school? Yeah, she would not let me see it. I was just kind of out the loop, and so that kind of began like a distaste for like all horror movies because, well, I wasn't able to see them, but everyone loved them.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have some card game news as well.
Oh, what you got?
I saw that, you know that game Elestrals? Maybe you've heard of this.
I've seen it on shelves.
Yeah.
A
shelves.
shelf.
I don't even know if it's on shelf yet.
I've seen it on one shelf.
A shelf? Okay. Well, it's this game that's developed by that YouTuber, like A-Drive, I think is his name. He reached out to me like a long time ago, and he was like, "Hey, here's Elestrals. I'm working on this."
Yeah, I'm a big A-Drive fan.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. It's like a new card game that's actually sort of, it's neat because like he made it and like it kind of feels like it's kind of made like from the ground up from like a card game fan, as opposed to just maybe being like Bandai took popular anime property or whatever. So they recently got a free-to-play digital simulator.
Wow.
And I thought that was kind of cool because like for effectively like a fan card game, right? It's cool to see that like there's an official sim available this early because I think it's only formally rolled out within the last year, and so they already have like a sim, and I don't know, it's called Elestrals Clash, and there's a little trailer. I won't watch the whole thing, but if you just wanted to see a smidgen of it.
Yeah, to be clear, I know nothing about Elestrals. I just know they look like Pokemon. I don't know a lot about it,
but like, yeah.
Casters.
I think that's what you're called if you play it, is you're a caster.
Reminds me of Lorcana.
Yeah, so they did it on Kickstarter.
It screams Pokemon design.
It does look kind of similar. I'm actually reminded more of Lorcana from all the purple. Like I feel like creatures maybe that you would see in a Disney movie.
Oh, I just mean the monster designs themselves.
Okay, well, I'm trying to skip to where they show gameplay because I see like what looks like a deck builder maybe, or
a lot of financial information on here.
Okay, he's asking for funding. So basically, there's a digital simulator, and you get to see it eventually here.
It is there. We know it's there.
And so they've announced this. You can like cards, decks, skins, boards, plaques, different card backs. Cool. So I thought this was kind of neat, and I also saw that when this released, there were some people from other card games like Cardfight Vanguard who were upset because Cardfight Vanguard apparently still doesn't actually have like an official just PC client, like mobile client.
Okay, but they're forgetting about the Switch game, the one where you can buy all the newest cards as DLC for your full price Switch title.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, definitely don't need a simulator then. No.
Yeah, so I thought this was kind of cool. I don't know very much about Elestrals. I'm not going to pretend to. I saw some people saying they think it's an industry plant.
Who like?
I don't know what that really means.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what that would mean too. Like,
what is
who's planting it?
In the
Why
TCG
are they planting
space?
it? Like, what's it gonna do?
And I think that they say that because Elestrals has reached out to so many content creators, and so like
that just sounds like good marketing to me.
Maybe it feels like it's like this planned rollout of like news, and it feels maybe like forced is what somebody might feel.
When I think about it, there are a lot of content creators who are interested in Elestrals, but I think a lot of that is actually might just be genuine interest in the game. I mean, because Elestrals they haven't put any money in my pocket. Although I'd be telling you guys to play it too if they had.
Yeah, sure. Like, you want to pay me? I'll
so I would, because I have not been paid to tell you guys how amazing Elestrals is. I would like to believe that the people talking about it enjoy the game.
It's probably fine. Like, I don't know. My main reason why I have not played it has nothing to do with disliking it and everything to do with I don't really have the time for another card game. As much as Yu-Gi-Oh hurts me, I'm still addicted to it. So
for me, it doesn't even matter.
You have so many card games.
Yeah, and it's for me. I'm an IP player. Like if it's an IP I like, I'll be interested in it. If it's not, then I just won't be interested.
Well, shout outs to Elestrals Clash. If you're interested in Elestrals, then I'm sure this is exciting news. So just thought I would share it with the people. That is all.
You're gonna link it in the description?
If I remember to. Maybe. You can do it. Alec does the timestamps, so you can add to your duties. You got to add links to the stories.
All right, but I don't have any other card game stories.
No other card game stories?
No.
All right, well, what else is new then?
I did get a police bust for $52 million in counterfeit retro gaming equipment.
Retro gaming? Okay, I thought you were going to say Pokemon cards.
Wouldn't that have been
usually
great?
How it goes.
I did once again use my typical query of like Pokemon TCG crime, Pokemon TCG shooting, Pokemon TCG violence, but nothing came up, or at least nothing new.
Okay, so what happened here?
All right, so police in Italy have made a number of arrests in connection with counterfeit game consoles. In other words, the cheap knockoff consoles you see listed in online sites that are loaded with hundreds of classic game ROMs. You know, the ones where they'll have literally like 1,000 ROMs, but like some of them are just like the English and like Spanish version of the same ROM, and like some of them are completely like corrupted from ground up.
Yeah,
and they'll have this is the Sega Genesis version of this game, but we also have the version of it that was on NES and
Super NES.
The things that my dad buys off TikTok. Yeah, it's a shot at you, old man.
Wait, does he buy that stuff?
Yes.
TikTok? Oh God. Okay. Anyways, carry on.
So, video game emulation has been a huge gray area when it comes to legality in terms of game predator. Okay, bloat. Get me back to the. And according to a report from AFP, 9 people in Italy were arrested in connection with video game consoles like these being illegally imported from China and sold in Europe. We're finally getting them. Around 12,000 consoles, on which more than 47 million pirated video games were illegally stored, were seized. That's not individual like game titles. That's also counting like copies of the games. I don't think there were 47 million retro games made.
Yeah.
For an estimated value of more than 47.5 million euros. I wonder how do you decide the value of a ROM?
I mean, I guess it's just how much that game would cost. MSRP is equivalent to that.
I guess that makes sense.
I don't know that like MSRPs for such old games still feel relevant.
But then again, like MVC2 and a bunch of other fighting games just came back at modern
if it's on a digital
prices.
storefront, I guess you would use. Yeah, okay, I get you.
It says this 52 million figure may seem like a stretch, though it depends on how the 9 people arrested end up being tried. The 12,000 consoles are likely just a small fraction of where that estimate comes from, with the majority being related to pirated software, and they'll get you for that. So depending on how court proceedings go down, this could be a landmark case in relation to emulation's legality and how cases around it are tried. With the current state of the gaming industry, maybe keep your eyes open on this case.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, it does seem like in the last year alone, we've had like more and more developments around like anti-piracy in a lot of spaces. Gaming, the big anime one that happened a few weeks ago where they shut like 1 billion websites down. Seems like, capitalism's putting its foot down on anybody enjoying entertainment without being willing to pay.
At some point, the golden age of piracy does end.
Or begin. I mean, like, I think at this point, they're really... Well, let me backtrack. I'm trying to remember that. So these are people selling, like, retro game kind of console type things, right?
Consoles. They're basically just Raspberry Pis with some color on them.
USB stick with games on it. Well, yeah, I don't know. I've never bought one of those. I've never really been enticed by them. I remember...
No one's ever just put one in front of you and just like, here, play.
Maybe.
That's
I remember
from the hood.
Do you remember when they made
what
was it? The like Nintendo NES Classic?
Yep.
And they made like the Super NES Classic. I think Sony maybe even made a similar thing, or maybe Sega Genesis.
Oh, Sony did have the mini
yeah,
thing.
Like the PlayStation Mini. Like, I think because more game companies are trying to do those, that could be why like there's a bit of a general crackdown on guys selling Raspberry Pi down the street.
I will say the quality is like night and day, because as someone who's dealt with those machines more times than you like to admit, oftentimes the ROMs don't even work. They're not calibrated properly with the controllers they ship with. Like sometimes the games are completely corrupted. Sometimes they just do not start.
A lot of that stuff is on like Temu. Honestly,
yep.
A lot of stuff I've seen that on Temu. I've heard people, they buy that shit. Wish.com. People will buy that stuff and like it'll just show up and things aren't calibrated, things don't work, things don't start.
I remember I went to a barcade where it had a bunch of emulated machines like that. They pretended to be like, arcade cabinets, but they were really just emulating games off some pirated software. And I could tell because I could not do my SPD with Zangief in Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And just don't say it's a skill issue. I know how to do an SPD, but the back on the emulated controls didn't work, so I could never get the corkscrew.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't play enough retro games and all that to really, I've never wanted to buy one of these, but I totally see where, a person might maybe, and like people would probably just choose to buy it if it feels like it could be a good gift. Like it could be a good gift for I got this for my dad. Like for you, your dad might.
I would never buy them one of those pirated pieces of garbage, but. Speaking of retro games,
okay.
MVC2 has come back into vogue with the release of the Capcom Classic Games Collection, and whatever the exact name of this one is.
Right.
Lots of people have been getting into Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the first time since, you got to be on the older side to have played it when it was still in arcades or even to know what an arcade is.
It's crazy their kids just don't really know what that might be.
But our good pal, and you might remember this guy from when we did deck flexing, Justin Wong, is
I've
so good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that people are asking for refunds for the game.
I saw something about this. Okay, so is it because they run into him online or whatever? And,
yes.
He just destroys them? That's funny.
So legendary fighting game competitor Justin Wong has been having an absolute field day with the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, reliving the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 glory days and hitting the ranked ladder. Unfortunately, he's beating people so badly that they're throwing in the towel and refunding the game. I don't think they mention it. Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, so Jay Wong, as he's commonly known as, is actually a 7-time EVO champion, specifically in MVC2. But a lot of people playing the game, this is their first time playing it, or they're just reminiscing on the good old days mashing buttons on console. They've never experienced what tournament quality play is in the game. I've seen clips of his play. He's busting out infinite looping combos where he launches you into the air and you never touch the ground ever again until it's KO time. It's absolutely it'll completely warp how you think the game should be played.
Yeah, when I've noticed that's how a lot of fighting games go for normies. Mm-hmm. Is people will play these games and I just want to mash like I did as a kid in the arcade, and the idea of tournament play is very off-putting to them. It's funny that they would want a refund though. I feel like you just encounter him once or twice, maybe online, and he beats you, and then you just kind of go on about your life. What does that have to do with getting a refund of the game?
I think it's the perception. Back in those days, we didn't have internet like that where we knew what high level play of that game was. So in our minds, we're all better at Marvel vs. Capcom 2 than we actually are.
Yeah, I get
they get a taste of what the game actually allows. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is not a well balanced game. It is not compared to modern fighting games. It is not. It is a lot of BS. And someone like him, who had to go through 7 EVOs, has seen all the BS the game can offer. And Joe Blow, who picked up a copy because he remembers mashing at his arcade, he doesn't have an iota of an understanding of what this game is. And so you run into Jay Wong, and he waxes you, but he waxes you in a way where it feels like you did not get to touch or play the game.
Being like skill diffed so hard. Mm-hmm. It's funny because it kind of feels reminiscent to how people view modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like when you're coming back from like 2007 or something, and someone just wins the coin flip, they take a 10-minute turn, they set up 5 huge monsters that negate everything you do and can't die, and you take your turn, you try to play any given thing, gets negated, and then you just give up. Like it
makes you scared to play.
Yeah, it makes you terrified. So
because I spent multiple parts of my childhood playing Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of those guys that I played Yu-Gi-Oh with, I can't get them to touch a card today. Not because they hate Yu-Gi-Oh, they're terrified to try and play this game.
They've seen what it. Yeah, they've heard a rumor.
They've heard about the negates. They heard the game ends in one turn. They are so terrified. I personally carry multiple speed duel boxes on me at pretty much all times. They are terrified to even touch my speed duel cards because of the things they've seen and heard online about this game. Or they might have experienced while I'm playing Master Duel. It was free to download. Many people tried it.
I've had friends who tried Master Duel. You've met them. One of our friends was playing Master Duel and lost the coin flip. And so like his opponent was going first and they were playing and he was like talking to us. And then when we all look back at the screen, he'd lost. He hadn't even gotten a turn. He got FTK'd. By like the super heavy samurai. So, and I get it. That's like a one in. That doesn't actually happen every game, but like for the average Joe Blow, they only need one experience like that to kind of ruin it for them.
And I mean, and look, we've seen Jay Wong play Yu-Gi-Oh. We've seen that brain work in a game that he hadn't played in years. Like, but you put him in his element.
Yeah, I mean, he knows what's up. Like, even with the old school Yu-Gi-Oh, he was.
I wonder if he's willing to do a reverse deck flexing where we play Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, I know he's played with some people. He's played with other creators and stuff. I'm no good at any of these games, so there was not any hope for me to begin with. Maybe you can.
No, I was a serial button masher as a child.
Well, here's another gaming story for you.
I literally put the ball of my hand on
you were just in
whatever happens.
Potential Nintendo Switch 2 details leak with first look at apparent new design.
New design? Like
the design for the Nintendo Switch 2.
I thought, so it's not going to be like very different. I thought that was making it sound like it's going to look totally different. Like the Wii and the Wii U.
It's not totally different. So the leak itself was revealed on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit page, in which one user shared the Switch second generation model STP, I guess a file type, along with a variety of images and specs. This was then echoed by Wario64 on X. I don't know if you followed this account. It's like a gaming account. They share gaming news. Who added the updated Switch 2 look to the list of potential specs. Now, naturally, it's important to look at these leaks with hesitation, as there's been no confirmation regarding these specifications or the design. However, in a report by VGC, a source who has allegedly been briefed on the Nintendo Switch 2 console but has not seen it explained that the Reddit images match what the company has told partners to expect from its design, which adds an air of legitimacy to the images, even if not outright confirming them. The alleged images show a similar design to the Switch 1, but with a USB-C port on the top and what looks to be a thinner and more streamlined design. You're probably like, okay, that all sounds great. What's it look like? Well, thankfully, I've got the tweets from Wario64 here, and we're going to have a look. Or we were, if they would load on Twitter. But
doomed.
I clicked a link, and then like it took me there, but it was like, okay, here we go.
And now your personal data is stolen.
Yeah, everything's gone. So there's a bunch of specs here. I'm going to put this on screen. But yeah, leaked photos of the Switch 2. So it kind of just looks like a Switch, maybe arguably a little bit sleeker. I can't really tell a difference. I see there is a USB-C port on the top, which that's not on the. Yes.
Why are you showing me this?
I mean, I thought you'd want to know. You feel like it's no different.
Well, like the specs on a Switch 2.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Like
people are interested in this stuff.
This is once again a gaming news story that has nothing to do with gaming. I mean, like the Switch 2
I love when people post this meme. Difference in Switch 1 and Switch 2.
Like
Like the toothpick meme. Yeah,
Just like, what do we?
Listen, I know.
Can't have any. Like, it's a Switch 2, right? It can't be that different. All we can expect is an upgrade. Like, what does it matter what the exact leaked specs are? Like, what is that going to change for us?
I mean, I'll be frank. I don't know what these specs mean. I don't really, dabble in video game tech specs.
Like,
I was more interested in seeing what it looked like, but I'm kind of disappointed by these pictures because like they're just like black and white kind of renders. I want to see like what's the product look like. That'd be cool, but that's not really what these are showing.
Like, is Nintendo going to like start making games that are more complex, more demanding? Because the Switch 2, I doubt it, since they still have to have Switch 1. The Switch 1 has to be perfectly capable of running every game on Switch 2. So what is a Switch 2 supposed to do exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be my suspicion. It's a slightly stronger device because I know that some games on Switch have been having some issues with like running smoothly, like Zelda. What's the new one? Tears of the Kingdom, like doesn't really run at like super stable frame rates. So a Switch successor would allow for that sort of thing.
Wasn't Tears of the Kingdom like very well received and like one?
Yeah, no, it was a really popular game, but this is just for like people who feel that maybe it could run at a higher resolution or a higher frame rate. It doesn't sound like that's you, but there are people who care. Here's some neat things. They explain how the Switch 2 will include 12 gigs of RAM compared to the 4 gigs of the original Switch. That'd be a bigger deal, I think.
The Switch was running on 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
See, I mean, that's the sort of thing, right? Like they're kind of interested in.
It's like but if it only needed 4 gigs of RAM.
Well, with 12 gigs of RAM, it can now probably run multiple processes at once. Like you could perhaps have, the eShop open and your game.
On 4 gigs of RAM, it really couldn't do much.
Yeah. Support for HDMI 2.1. And 256 gigs of internal storage compared to the 32 on the Switch, which I'm not going to lie, I have a Switch and that 32 gigs.
Wait. You mean a Switch proper? Like that thing sitting over there?
Yeah, there's no Switch that I have.
It's 32 gigs.
Yeah, 32 gigs of memory. You can store a few games. Now, you could always use like micro SD cards.
Yo, that's crazy. I can't believe Nintendo. All right, okay.
If you can believe it, like an average episode of this podcast is like
the
raw audio files from that, just the audio files is like half of that like Switch memory.
I knew the Switch couldn't be a very impressive piece of hardware, but these numbers you're telling me of the old Switch, this is way more interesting to me than the new Switch.
Yeah, I mean the old Switch was not running on much. Like it's really not. They also say that there's going to be like a larger 8-inch screen because I think the Switch's screen is like a 7.1 inch, something like that. So it's an upgraded thing. Cool, I will be probably getting one.
I'll be getting my little brother one. He broke his old Switch, but I never saw it as much more than a toy from the break in the first place.
So that was kind of a neat.
I never forget when I first held his Switch after he had it for a few months. I picked it up by like one of the Joy-Cons, and it wiggled.
Like and wiggling.
I was like, what did you do to this thing?
That's no good. Well, that's my little fun gaming story.
I also have a fun gaming story.
Do you? Let's hear it. I'm interested.
Oh, we'll see how interested you are when we get to the story. This is from PC Gamer.
Okay.
EA, our favorite company, says giving video game characters life and persistence outside of games with AI is a profound opportunity, which is the kind of talk that leads to dangerous holodeck malfunctions.
What? Wait, what is going on?
That last part is just part of the answer.
Well, let's hear what EA had to say. How are they going to use AI to make my gaming experience so much better?
Like so many other companies, EA is going all in on generative AI. At an investors conference today, I think this was posted today, or 19 hours, so yesterday.
Yeah.
The game development giant tackled at length about the ways AI is supposed to transform its business, and Chief Strategy Officer Mihir Vaidya demoed some of the generative AI concepts the company has been working on. One of the demos was a large language model powered NPC based on professional footballer Jude Bellingham. I don't know anything about soccer.
That's fine.
Fake Bellingham, that's the AI, if you couldn't
Bellingham,
tell,
okay.
described what it's like for real Bellingham to play at Bernabeu Stadium. I don't know anything about soccer. At Bernabeu Stadium, this is the quote, It's like a dream come true. Stepping on the pitch for the first time, it was a surreal feeling. I mean, I grew up watching Real Madrid. I even played at them in EA games with my brother, Joe.
Or are you trying to give it like an AI
I'm trying to
voice?
say it like an AI would, yeah.
It just sound more natural.
You think?
EA as well. That's what they want you to believe anyway.
So to actually play in front of all those fans, it's something you can't explain. It's not exactly insightful stuff. You can watch it here. There's a link to the video itself of this AI talking. But you can't deny that it sounds like a non-answer from an actual athlete.
Yeah.
Whether generative AI NPCs who remix text from the internet are ever going to be more than a novelty, I don't know. But EA is already planning for a world where these simulated people not only talk to us in video games, but also escape their prisons and join us in the broader digital world. It says, this is a quote, I think, from Vigia. Even at this early stage, we can't help but imagine the profound range of interactions that might now be possible with more believable characters like Jude, said Vigia. Certainly in the context of a game, but potentially beyond games entirely. As our lives become increasingly digital and the internet becomes increasingly spatial, it's not hard to imagine taking our favorite characters, ones that we've already spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours with, to other contexts in our digital lives, like social media, news, shopping, online learning, even those FaceTime calls with your parents, where you have to show them how to fix their laptops for the 100th time. Ha, 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 ha.
Are you done? I want out. I want out. I want out. I don't care.
You don't want to continue
care
talking to your
any of
favorite
this.
video game characters?
I don't want to talk to them.
No.
No,
you don't want Sonic on your phone?
I don't.
Asking about chili dogs?
No. I don't want any of it. Like, I'm just sitting here listening to these words, and I'm just like, this is all so shallow. It just means nothing. You
say that until Sonic's asking you if you've seen Amy in the last 24 hours. He's trying to hide from her.
Okay. Listen. All right. So you're gonna be chatting with your AI companion in your video game, your soccer game, Alec.
I am horrified that EA thinks that this is what people want from them.
I don't care about this. I know I don't speak for all gamers. I guess there's someone out there.
No. Let's take a hard stance on this. I don't think there's a gamer in the world that wants EA focused on expansive AI opportunities outside of gaming.
They don't want it in gaming. Like, people already don't like that. Like, this AI.
Say it, Paul.
I really don't find it very...
Oh, you pulled back on us.
No. I mean, okay, it's AI shit. Like, I think it's it's so... It just feels... It's lifeless, it's boring, and oftentimes it's applied in these ways that I don't think anyone, wants it or cares. I don't think it's adding any value to anyone's life. The only use AI can be for me, truthfully, we say it every single week, is if it can do a task, if AI can do my laundry for me, I'm all for it. But if it's not doing my laundry or whatever, I'm not that interested in talking to some, do you remember when Meta did that thing where it's
oh, how could I forget?
all the celebrities, and it's here's their little personas, you can talk to them, so-and-so's the cool older brother who will roast you, or so-and-so's the guy who will talk to you about sports, or whatever, and it's just it's so lifeless and dull and weird.
It's a misapplication of the technology, at least in my opinion. I think there are plenty of good uses for AI, but having AI generated characters talk to you is a miscarriage of technological justice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't find that in any way fun or innovative, or I don't think it's going to improve my gaming experience. I don't see the point. I don't.
It's
care.
I thought of a way a talking AI could maybe help me. If I am working on some type of an assignment or a project or doing some math problems, and the AI can read what I'm doing and it sees I make a mistake and it tells me, hey, you made an error there. All right, that's the only time I would allow an AI to speak to me in some uncontrolled manner.
You can't even trust those. Have you seen the thing going around on the internet how ChatGPT and stuff can't answer how many R's are in the word strawberry. Like if you ask ChatGPT how many R's are in the word strawberry, like it can't like get it right. It'll say two.
Get it? Are there multiple spellings of strawberry?
It just doesn't. It's a kind of example of just how like these AI aren't actually. They're not thinking in the conventional way. And so there will just always be weird little things that they can't
like
grasp.
Draw hands.
Yeah, like drawing hands is still really hard, but also just like how many R's in the word strawberry. And like normally, you and I can like think, okay, here's how it's spelled, here's how many R's there are, done, right? But it's not like that. And so when even these basic tasks, like really simple stuff, like it can't tell you how many R's are in the word strawberry. So do you trust it to really do anything more important, like that's important to you? And that's where I'm kind of like, it all feels like just...
It is important that you don't overly rely on AI. Like when I said like it could help catch a mistake, it shouldn't be a mistake that I am too dumb to catch myself, but it's something simple enough that like I just missed it and the AI saves me time by catching it faster than me rereading my entire work and saying, oh, I made a mistake here. Because I remember when I was going through a statistics class, I used ChatGPT to explain certain statistical concepts because the university couldn't bother have an actual professor teach me anything. So in that way, I found ChatGPT to be useful. However, it did make mistakes. I still had to be smart enough to read what it was telling me and be like, well, that's not correct. That's literally not even the number I told you. Where'd that even come from?
What I hate is that like there will be people who lose their jobs for this or have already. You know, writers and teachers and all these things where it's like, oh, we can replace this with an AI. And like these AIs will make mistakes. They will like hallucinate and lie. And that hasn't changed still. Right. Like, we've read these articles. I don't know. I guess like, up till now, everybody's kind of seen you as like the AI hater. And I think you still probably hate it more than me. But I'm getting there. Because like I'm starting to realize like I just don't think there's a point to a lot of it. Like we're not getting meaningful applications of it. We see these articles where people are like, companies are investing more and more in AI and finding that it's a bubble that they're not making returns on. Yeah. Because at best, it's like that article says, it's like a novelty. It's a beautiful fun little party trick that can kind of maybe entertain somebody for a couple of attempts, right? Yeah. Like when ChatGPT really blew up, people are like, oh, I'm going to hop on it and like ask it some weird questions. Then you and your friends do that a few times, and then you kind of move on with your lives. A few people maybe still use it to like, formulate an email or like kind of get some thoughts. And that's great. But I mean, there's not like this big money making thing that's happening with AI right now.
In the tech industry, AI is a beautiful little sinkhole where because of the depth of the technology, there's no limit to how much money and resources you can pour into researching it. However, no one's been able to turn that into something that's profitable. But boy, can you put money into it. You can just keep spending money. You can,
and I just think that it's very... And like, I'm not mad that they're wasting their money on it. Like, if Google and all these companies want to like throw money at it and lose, Meta, right?
I just get mad that when gaming companies like EA, who could be paying real game designers, real artists to work on their titles.
Real writers, so this just sounds like shit to me. Like, I think this is a joke. It's not... And EA, nobody loves EA to begin with. I don't know that's very true, but like, I don't know. I don't find this in any way interesting, exciting. I kind of hate it. Like, the best thing I can say about using AI in a video game is like, maybe if it's something like what you said, like if it like stands to the side and could like help you figure something out, like maybe there's something there, but I don't know. I don't really think it's...
Yeah, EA still makes Madden games, right? Like Madden still happen. That's going to be the first game where we're going to see a lot of AI application from EA. I think the very next Madden is just going to be AI. Like the crowd's going to be AI generated
because like there's like those my player mode, my career mode, and all that stuff. So now like you'll be able to kind of like implant like a personality or like speak to
the commentate, because they always have like commentators that they're going to replace that with AI too. It's going to be procedurally generated. Every game is going to be a fresh like a fresh commentary from hosts, like,
as they like tell you like lies and hallucinate about the game. They say things that aren't true.
Wow, I can't believe he just threw a home run and like.
Well, that's great. I've got another AI story for you.
What you got?
After I bitch and moan about yours, here's one from me. Lionsgate signs deal to train AI model on its movies and shows.
I'm already upset. I was mad when you said Lionsgate. I was mad.
Yeah, the studio behind the Hunger Games and John Wick franchises is going all in on Runway's generative AI. We talked about Runway once. AI startup Runway, like vaguely in some story, has made a name for itself building generative models seemingly trained on unlicensed content from around the internet. Now, well, they started this article coming in hot. Now the company has signed a deal with Lionsgate that will give it access to the studio's massive portfolio of films and TV shows. So today, Lionsgate announced it's partnering with Runway to create a new customized video generation model intended to help filmmakers, directors, and other creative talent augment their work.
Plagiarize
In a statement about the deal, Lionsgate Vice Chair Michael Burns described it as a path towards creating, quote, capital-efficient content creation opportunities for the studio, which sees the technology as, quote, a great tool for augmenting, enhancing, and supplementing our current operations. And Burns also insisted that, quote, several of our filmmakers are already excited about its potential applications to their pre-production and post-production process. And then finally, Runway co-founder and CEO Cristobal Valenzuela.
You mean my enemy?
Echoed Burns' sentiment about the new model's usefulness as an augmentation tool and said that the company's goal is to give filmmakers, quote, new ways of bringing their stories to life.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember that AI-generated cartoon?
Little monster movie?
Yeah.
Same shit, different toilet.
That's all I can think of, and I'm horrified.
I noticed that they're very careful. They're tiptoeing around using the word, like, using it in, like, production. They've been saying, oh, we'll use it for, like, pre-production. We'll use it in, like, post-production. They're very careful to not, because they know, like, it's a very touchy subject of, like, using it in the actual direct production of the film. So they're just saying, like, oh, you can use, like, kind of pre-visualize scenes or maybe to add, like, special effects afterwards. But we all know.
Yeah, we know exactly what
the code's really saying. Know. Yeah, I don't want to watch AI generated movies. I actually don't want to watch them.
There's a lot of movies made by people that I'm very skeptical of right now, but I promise you I don't want to see an AI generated movie.
Well, here's something fun too. Specific details about the deal, like whether creative teams will be compensated if and when their projects are used as training material for the model, are currently scant. But as the Hollywood Reporter notes, the prospect of being able to keep production costs down could have been one of the big selling points for Lionsgate, a studio known for sticking to smaller budgets compared to other entertainment outfits.
I mean, I'd love to know if there's compensation for people whose content have been used to train AI models, because I can think of many a YouTuber who would love to get compensated for all of our videos that are being scraped for everybody's AI.
You remember that story that came out like some weeks back about the big? Some of our videos were taken.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, anyway, I'm not surprised. And we got nothing for it.
I didn't get a penny. So SAG-AFTRA and all that stuff, like you hear about these strikes, and then like you hear developments like this where it's like, yeah, Lionsgate's just like handing over all these old movies and shows to train some AI model to eventually replace actors, musicians, writers, and everybody else.
No loyalty to the people that have built up the movie industry when you're just trying to replace them with a computer program.
Yeah, so they reached out to SAG-AFTRA for comment about the partnership between Runway and Lionsgate, but did not hear back in time for publishing. This comes to us from The Verge.
Disgusting.
Yeah, so I'm not a really big fan of this. And if I find out that like a movie was made with AI, I'm probably just checking it out.
Then you appear in the movie.
Oh, I'd be very upset.
They used AI from one of our videos, and now you are in it.
I'm just like someone in the crowd, but like still they stole that from like a YouTube video.
It reminds me of the guy in GTA 6. The clown guy who's like, hey, they used me and put me into their game.
Yeah, I mean, at least that way it was like, and that was like an inspiration. Like they were inspired by like a real life video.
Unless it was AI.
But yeah, maybe it was. But here it's just like they'll just use it without your permission. There's no accreditation or anything. Anyway, cool. Back to you.
I got nothing.
Okay, that's all your stories?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I've got one last kind of neat, fun one to end us off on. Have you ever heard of this feature called YouTube Hype?
No, this is my first
just heard about
time
this today.
hearing about this.
YouTube Hype gives smaller creators a place to shine. So it's a new way for viewers to share the stuff they really like and for creators to grow on an increasingly busy platform. Mm-hmm. Here's what they say. When a YouTuber hits 500,000 subscribers, the company has found that things tend to change. That 500,000 milestone is something of a tipping point in terms of both growth and revenue, says Bangali Kaba, a director of product management at YouTube. We saw a disproportionate growth in earnings, he says, even though most of our creators are smaller than this size. Big channels also tend to get more views, which gets them recommended more, which gets them more views, which gets them more revenue, and around it goes. So with a new feature called Hype, YouTube is trying to focus on growing the smaller channels and helping people discover and share new creators. Hype is an entirely new promotional system inside of YouTube. There's a new button for hyping a video, and the most hyped videos will appear on a platform-wide leaderboard. It's a bit like trending, like the trending page, but it's focused specifically on smaller channels and on what people specifically choose to recommend rather than just what they watch.
How do they define a smaller channel exactly?
They don't.
Because the smaller you go, the more channels it is open to.
I think it sounds like maybe it's just 500,000 or less. So like their goal is basically like people, the actual mechanism behind Hype is pretty complicated. A video is only eligible to be hyped in the first 7 days after it's published. And of course, if it's made by a channel with fewer than 500,000 subscribers.
So we don't qualify.
Yeah. Maybe this channel does.
But this
APS
one
Amplifier
does.
Yeah. Hype our podcast.
Yeah, hype us, guys.
Each user only gets 3 hypes a week. And each hype is worth a certain number of points that inversely correlates to how many subscribers a given channel has. The idea is that smaller channels should be able to hit the leaderboard too. So each hype to a smaller channel will be worth more points. YouTube is doing an awful lot here to try and make sure the biggest channels don't just dominate the leaderboard. The 100 videos with the most total points will hit the top of the leaderboard. And the leaderboards are specific to each country. And over time, YouTube also plans to personalize the hype section for each user. So,
now that is interesting. That's once again putting YouTube far and ahead of like things like Twitch as far as being discovered on their platform. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like it.
Sounds good.
I respect it.
I think it's cool. I think it feels very like a very modern feature, like kind of for a younger generation, where people often complain.
Well, then it should have been called a lit feature.
A lit. You can light a video and it becomes lit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give it a lit. No,
I'm so sorry, everybody.
People complain about Chucky.
The YouTube algorithm. It recommends only big channels. The rich get richer.
All right, leave Mr. Beast alone.
Small and new, and yeah.
I'm gonna defend him.
Did you see that he and Logan Paul and KSI are making a new Lunchable competitor called like Lunchly? It's like a kids' lunch thing.
Some of the biggest YouTubers are all like working together now in some type of unholy cabal.
Yeah. Anyway, though,
that Lunchy is probably poison.
It's probably like you can taste the plastic in it, I imagine.
But to be fair, Lunchables aren't much better than that. We just have fond memories.
That's true. My confession is I eat Lunchables even to this day. It's like a snack. They're pretty good.
Paul likes plastic.
Sometimes I eat them. But anyway, yeah, this kind of feels like, people are always like, the algorithm just pushes the big guys. Mm-hmm. And then I saw, starting like last year or so, YouTube started trying to recommend small creators on your homepage more.
Oh, that made me upset.
Yeah, you'll find these channels that have like a video with like 200 views and it's very small. And I get the sentiment, but a lot of people actually complain that they feel that it's kind of deteriorated the value of the homepage because like these aren't good recommendations. They're just forcing them in.
Yeah, I gotta be in a mode if I want to watch a small channel, Mm-hmm. You gotta let me switch to a different tab,
Yeah, and they've messed around with like some features like new to you. I don't know if you've seen that feature where you can like press this button. So like normally your algorithm is super catered to you.
Yeah.
And do you ever sometimes feel like I wish I could kind of like just reset my algorithm or like just see something that's just not so deeply understanding of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you can press this new to you button. I've seen it a few times. I think it's just rolled out to everybody now, where it will just like literally show you things that are specifically like might be interesting, but are like outside of your established, you know. It's cool. I've tried it out. It's good. Like actually, it's generally pretty good.
I need to try that. Where's that button located?
It's
on
like
your
around
home
the. So when you're on the home page,
Yep.
Like, and there's like these kind of like labeled tabs at the top that are
Yes.
like kind of topics. You scroll far enough, and you'll see one that just says like new to you.
I gotta try that.
Yeah,
I gotta try that.
So I think it's a pretty cool feature. I will see if I can get it to work on my iPad right here. But basically, like, they're clearly trying to find ways for smaller channels to get recognized, and I hope that this works for that. But yeah, here we go. So, like on my homepage here, you know, there's like all these different topics, things that I might like. Them. Well, anyway,
and see, your homepage right now is a bunch of channels I've seen you watch.
But if you go here to like new to you, and you press it, it will like show things that actually this is all stuff that I would definitely watch. So I don't know why it's well, it's not working well in this example.
It's not perfect,
but generally that is how it's supposed to work. So it's just showing me more like smartphones and Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. So anyway, yeah. But the point is, they've been trying to. I think that this hype feature sounds like it's the next step in that.
Right.
I would use it if you know. I might try like hyping a video. It kind of sounds fun.
I mean, you can't really try it. Like someone else has to hype your video.
Yeah, but like I'll hype other people's things.
Oh, okay.
And I'll check the hype page to see what's most hyped.
I'm gonna go find the worst video on YouTube and hype that with all three of my hypes every day, every week.
I do wonder if people will do like kind of because this sounds like unlike trending. It's very much decided by the people, and
which
so I
means
wonder if there will
can
be
be
trolling.
messed with.
Yeah, like will people kind of manipulate it?
Find one of those old Elsagate videos or new Elsagate videos, if those even exist anymore.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool, neat little feature.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all the stories for the week, isn't it?
You guys know what that means.
That means it's time to answer questions from the pot of greed.
You know how it works, guys. You submit your questions at the link in the description, and then we will pull 2 questions to answer.
Yeah, each of us will pull 2 because we're drawing 2 cards. Also, a great time to remind you guys, if you're watching the premiere, thumbs up the premiere, folks. It really does help to spread it around to more people on YouTube, so we'd certainly appreciate it if you did.
All right, I'll apologize right now, Paul. I partially wiped off the question on this one with my thumb. Who would have thought?
You're going to have to try your best. I have them on my tablet too, though. I can pull them up if needed.
Many TCGs are inspired by Magic the Gathering? ? Do you think there are newer games that have been inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh? If so, how?
Oh, okay. This might be better for you.
All right, so
you play more games than me.
It is most definitely a fact that a lot of games are inspired by Magic the Gathering. Their mana resource system has been done in more ways than I could possibly count at this point. But it's important to remember that even Yu-Gi-Oh was inspired by Magic the Gathering. Now we abandoned their mana system for at the time was a more novel style of game, but I can honestly say this without a shadow of a doubt. I have yet to play a game that's like Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean,
have you played a game that has a feature or kind of mechanic that feels Yu-Gi-Oh inspired?
That is one. So Yu-Gi-Oh's what used to be a fusion deck, which is now the extra deck. I've actually seen so many games incorporate a second deck that is like intrinsic to the gameplay. When we played what's the game called? The one with the artifact deck. Grand Archive had the artifact deck. You weren't summoning monsters from your artifact deck, but it was extra like resources that were kept separate from the rest of your deck. I mean, Digimon has its Digi-Egg deck.
Would you say that the hand traps that like Digimon has feel like Yu-Gi-Oh hand traps, or those feel more like instants in Magic?
That's a great question. I mean, our hand traps are just instants from Magic, You activate an instant from your hand. Your opponent doesn't know you have it. It's you use it typically to negate or destroy something on board. That's what Ghost Ogre and Ash Blossom were. You negated a card or you destroyed a card. That's what we were doing with those cards. So it feels like even our hand traps are from Magic. Now, when we talked about like the ace cards in Digimon, do they feel more like Yu-Gi-Oh hand traps or do they feel more like Magic instants? I would say they're more like our hand traps because instants are spells. They are non like permanent cards. They're not creatures, right? Yeah. But our hand traps pull double duty. They are cards you ditch from your hand for effects, but they're also monsters you can summon on your field that you should almost never do, but situations come up, right?
Synchro with them.
But I feel like there's no game in like that I have played that really scratches the Yu-Gi-Oh itch. That just feels like this game is like just Yu-Gi-Oh with another coat of paint on it.
One thing I will say, so I haven't really played enough games, I think, to answer that question well, but I have spoken with enough people about new games. And something that I hear people often say is like, when they're pitching their new game to me or to someone else, they'll always say it's like Yu-Gi-Oh, but X thing is fixed. Like that's a common sentiment I hear, where people are like, oh, like it's Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's like the Yu-Gi-Oh you know and love, like it's slow again, or like it's Yu-Gi-Oh without the long combos, without the busted hand traps. And so people will often say that, and I think that actually speaks to the popularity of Yu-Gi-Oh, that like so many people want to be like it, but just be the like, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh, but it like fixed that little part about it that's bad.
I feel like a lot of games I think a lot of games claim to be like Yu-Gi-Oh, but they're actually scared to like go the Yu-Gi-Oh way.
Yeah, I know we've done some Yu-Gi-Oh bashing in the first half of this podcast.
But like bit. We have.
But the honest truth is, and I've said this for many years, I don't think it's an opinion that's ever going to change. Yu-Gi-Oh is nothing else if not quite unique among like the modern card games.
Yu-Gi-Oh's crazy.
It's insane, really. Like you can call that good or a bad thing, but there ain't no resource system in Yu-Gi-Oh. You do what you want.
Yeah, we do whatever we want.
And you know the turns are long, the combos are crazy, the boards are big, and there's a lot of just like really rapid fire interaction happening back and forth between you and your opponent.
Ooh, now that I think about it, a decent example. Oh, it's only decent. Like premium format card fight Vanguard feels as close as I've ever gotten to like a Yu-Gi-Oh like game where there is no resource system. The combos are insane. They have their like stride deck thing. Like I feel like premium format card fight Vanguard's as close as I've ever gotten to Yu-Gi-Oh, another card game.
Okay, well,
this might be opening us up to emails from like people in their card games. No, this is the Yu-Gi-Oh killer.
I get a lot of those emails. You know. Okay, this is a question that's actually from the tablet because it's a long one. I couldn't fit it all on the card.
Uh-oh.
But it's how do you stay vigilant in Yu-Gi-Oh when you lose? So I'm going to read this person's full question.
Vigilance is the key word in Magic.
As I know, Paul is one who's always on constant ladder climbs on Master Duel every season. This is true, which is very commendable. But while I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh myself much anymore outside of casual or my favorite deck, Noble Knights, I'm more of a fighting game player in recent years, and even then, I can start to see the similarities of just having to win and lose in a game with a competitive nature. Like both games, someone wins and someone loses, and as the saying goes, losing is part of the process, but you just don't find at the end of the day. But sometimes there are phases where you're like, I'm tired of losing all the time, myself included, that I sometimes go through. Was there ever a time where you've gone through something similar with any sort of competitive game? Like, you know, so when you lose as you try to improve, how do you stay vigilant despite it? I mean, I think we can both answer because I'm sure that you've
I've experienced this for sure.
Plenty of games where this applies. But as for me, this is, I don't know if this is a really helpful bit of advice, but I'll share it. I don't really think that there's like anyone that like I can't beat. I don't really tend to view
that
games
sick.
As like,
you say Jesse Cotton is a mark to you?
Well, no, what I mean is more like I don't really see games as like there's like just this, if I don't work hard enough, there's not a way for me to beat this person, is kind of how I view it. Like, I think there are people that are better than me at Yu-Gi-Oh! I think there are people that are better than me at a lot of the things that I do. But I've never sort of counted myself. Oh, there goes our main camera.
It's been a while since
it's been a while since I've heard that sound. But, you know, like I have never sort of found a game where it feels like this. Like we're talking about like Justin Wong thing earlier, where like the skill diff is just so high and it feels kind of hopeless. I don't know if I've ever experienced that, but like, you know, when I play Smash, I always feel like, you know, if I was to commit the time, I think I could get good enough to like compete with said person who's like better than me. Or same with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like when I'm climbing Master Duel's ladder, I don't know. I've never really viewed my opponents as like so much better than me that like I can't win. I just sort of see it as like, I don't know, but no, it's not like that. Like I'm not saying I'm like guaranteed to win or that like I'm gonna like, you know, like, wipe people.
I don't think you understand just how rare that mindset is.
Yeah, I know. I know in modern games, I think that what really for a lot of people, they want a lot of instant gratification. Mm-hmm. Games in many cases are designed today around like letting you quickly forget losses and kind of just get back into the fun. Like I think of, you know, like the Fortnites and stuff where you're doing these battle royales, but the moment your team loses, you don't have to watch till the end of the game. You can just queue back up.
Those like 10 seconds before your next game re-queues where you have to watch the guy who killed you continue playing sears my soul.
Yeah, you know, there's definitely some salt. But then like, you know, you queue
reset,
up
again. You know, get ready again.
Yeah, but for Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. That's how I get through it is I don't see it as like I'll never, you know, be able to eventually reach the goal I'm trying to reach. I just think I'll just have to kind of keep trying. It's a dull maybe answer, but
it can't be as dull as my answer.
So what about you?
I take breaks. Yeah. I'm a journeyman. I've played a lot of different games, card games, fighting games, just games. I've played a lot of games, and I always find that my goal is usually to get to a fairly average point in a game. Once I don't usually try to get to that next level above, but even when you're just trying to be to a decent point in a game, that means you start from a beginner and have to work your way up. I've done climbs in many different games, like in Street Fighter, where the game started me off in Iron. I didn't feel like I belonged in Iron, but that's where the game put me, and I wanted to work my way up to Platinum because that was the level that most people were at in Street Fighter, and I wanted to be an average Street Fighter player. So I grinded my way up to Platinum, but that wasn't without many heartbreaking losses. You run into Smurfs online, people who have no business at your level, and they just smack you around like nobody's
they're having
business.
Fun with it. Yeah.
And I found the key to surviving the mental state that those games can put you in it, and then losing streaks can put you in those modes, is to take breaks. Walk away, do something else. You think that you have to just sit back down and keep grinding, but your brain doesn't actually need that much information and stimulus to retain what it's learned. Yeah, I found that, especially when I'm learning new things, because I play a lot of fighting games, like when I'm learning a new combo, day one, I'm going to grind as hard as I possibly can. And typically, I get stuck on one part of a combo I just can't quite get. And yeah, I could sit there for another 4 hours and maybe I'll get there. But usually what I find, if I stop, I go to sleep, I wake up the next day, I do my thing for the day, I'll sit back down, do that combo, and all of a sudden, I can do all the parts I was practicing easily, and now that next part just slides right in, and I'm moving on in my practice. It takes a little bit longer, but I didn't get stuck, and then was forced to just quit. I just took a break, I did something else, and I was good to go again. And I think that experience, because that experience has taught me a lot. I remember when I was playing in Injustice. I loved playing Injustice. And I was trying to get better at Injustice. I realized that I couldn't just sit there playing ranked matches in Injustice all day, every day. What I would do, I would play until I got beat 5 times in a row. And if you've ever played a fighting game competitively, those days do happen where you get smacked around. You're gonna get smacked by somebody. And then I'd switch over to playing the single player mode, or I'd go into practice mode, and I would sit in those modes for hours until I was tired of them, switch to a new mode. And only after playing 2 different modes of Injustice would I then go back to competing again, trying again. Just breaks. Don't play until you break yourself.
Yeah, I guess I should have mentioned too. I do have like games I jump between. So like sometimes I'll like, be really into Master Duel for a few weeks. And it's like every night I'm just playing for hours and hours and hours. But then like I also switch to like Slippy or, Melee online or whatever. Like, and I'll play that for a few weeks. Like I haven't been doing that for a while. So if I feel a little burnt of Master Duel, I'll switch to that because it's a very different competitive environment. It's a totally different kind of type of stimuli. And then like, also even like Final Fantasy 14, right?
Yeah.
And we play that pretty regularly, but like when we're playing like the harder content, right? Like that to me is an equivalent sort of thing of those other three or the other two where like, I kind of bounce between them when I want to really bang my head against the wall of something.
We're fighting our way through like extreme trials in Final Fantasy 14. These are like decently hard boss fights that do require quite a bit of memorization. And typically on day one of trying to progress through those fights, we can't clear them.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea with a lot of this stuff. Like, I think people want like instant success in many things, like these games, and I wanted to keep my answers short, but there's a lot to say.
It's got to be just as long as a question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think like maybe it's the modern kind of like esports gaming culture. You watch tournaments and you see these things, and you kind of want the prize but not the journey sort of thing. Like where I want to be as good as the people I see on the stream, but I don't really want to like take all the time to do it. It sounds fun to be a top player in anything, right? But like, that's not actually a given. I also think there's nothing wrong with like accepting that you won't be like top one in this game. Like it's fine to just be a good enough Yu-Gi-Oh player or like a good enough Smash player, Injustice, Street Fighter, whatever. Like if you can find a point that you're satisfied with where like, you can compete maybe in your like regional tournaments and get top 8, maybe that's good enough, right? Like, or something like that. So I think, I don't know, not like putting weird expectations on yourself. You have to be number one because like someone's, counting on you to do so. Like, you don't really have to like view it that way. And I think with Yu-Gi-Oh, because I know that's probably what this person's most talking about here. I also think people let the nature of Yu-Gi-Oh's like highly unfair gameplay get to them. And to me, it's crucial to just like accept it. Like Yu-Gi-Oh's an unfair ass game.
I feel like what you really mean to say is disassociate.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, if you can, like I've done that at this point. Like the decks that you face in Yu-Gi-Oh are obscenely unfair. Everything's like nothing's fair in this game. Like these decks do rude things, even though like mid-tier kind of decks that you face today, long combos, big boards, unfair recovery, unfair, amounts of gas and steam and things that these decks can do. Like it's actually a little bit wild. And you have to just accept that like there are going to be some games where they're going to hit you with some shit.
Yep.
And you're just going to have to like hold that L and just move to the next one. D-Shifter is going to shut you down. Max C is going to shut you down. Some card's going to sack you. It's how it goes. Deal with it. Move on. Like, and if these cards are consistently beating you, then you know what that means? It's not the cards, it's you.
Ooh, let's came up with a new idea for a way to play Yu-Gi-Oh. A format where neither opponent can actually interact with one another.
Yeah.
You go first. You build a board. Your opponent goes second. They build a board. Now you each can take turns attacking with your monsters.
And just see how it plays out.
Whatever happens.
Yeah,
that changes everything.
Actually.
Negates will almost mean nothing in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's attack points. What's the biggest negation you can make?
Like if it's a matter of, well, my opponent has access to bigger monsters than me, well, maybe my monsters have effects that can like target and destroy a monster then that's where your negates can be useful. You want to target and destroy my monster, well, I won't let you. It could be fun.
Yeah, no, that actually could be like a fun alt format. It would take a long time because you both have to make the boards, but I don't know. The last thing I'll say about it too is, I made a video about this on Amplifier actually just a few days ago. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not a fair game. It's really not. You got to kind of deal with that. If you want to compete in this game, that's like something you have to come to terms with.
Yeah.
To be clear about that, it's not that I'm saying you should have to play this. If you don't like it, don't play it. do not suffer through Yu-Gi-Oh! If it's not giving you, if it's not the game that you're enjoying. But I think that if you want to like do well in spite of that, it just comes down to like accepting that there's some shit you're gonna get hit with in this game and isn't fair. And and doing your best to mitigate, right? Like Max C is powerful and obnoxious, but there's some counterplay to it. A fair amount. More has been being introduced even in recent weeks. More people are playing card destruction in their combo decks. They will make you draw 20 cards, they'll hit you with card destruction and deck you out. Your Max C didn't even get you another turn, you lost. Somebody did that with Trickstar Reincarnation to me the other night. Someone used Trickstar Reincarnation and Transaction Rollback and hit me with it on their turn while they were comboing after I'd drawn like a bunch off Max C and I lost. And it was crazy. But it goes to show like Max C is not the end all of this stuff. Like people want to ban this card, it's so unfair and so unskillful and get you these free wins, but it's like it didn't get me a free win, it got me a free loss.
I've had my Mass Duel games where I didn't know people were doing that. I've Max C'd someone and they said, all right, buckle up, buckaroo. I'm like, why? It draws out my deck.
People will draw you out. People, they'll play under Dimension Shifter. Like, don't think that these cards define your game. Like, you gotta, whatever. That's a whole rant for a different day. Point is, I think that like anything that you face on these online ladders, you can beat it with effort. So don't get demoralized about it.
And take breaks.
And a break does not hurt.
All right.
My next lower question. Than I expected, but a great question.
Do you guys think they should do a live action Yu-Gi-Oh show or movie? All right. I'm going to say yes, but. And this is my but.
All right.
It's a big but.
Yeah.
It's a huge but. They say it might be one of the biggest butts. Never mind. I would like to see a Yu-Gi-Oh live action show or movie, but for the love of God, it can't be with modern Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, it has to be fanciful anime Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, 100%.
That's actually interesting to watch.
I think that you have to. So for a long time, I think that there was like this reputation in like live action anime adaptations that they were just going to be awful. Mm-hmm. The Dragon Ball one everybody kind of laughs at, and there's like other
Dragon
examples.
Ball Evolution,
like the Avatar, like Airbender movie, the first one, M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh yeah, M. Night's Avatar.
Yeah, where they're just, it's cringe. The effects are bad. It just looks like bad cosplay. It just doesn't work. But we've seen better examples recently, like One Piece, Netflix One Piece.
I enjoyed that.
Really good time. And it's not even that it didn't have, it kind of had that slightly cringe, slightly like overacted vibe, but it like owned it so well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like the stylistically and the direction, whatever, they did a good job with it. I think Yu-Gi-Oh could work. I think there's like aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh that would translate really well on screen. Like, I wonder if they can like nail kind of the fashion of Yu-Gi-Oh and like, just things like that. That would be really cool to try to see. But yeah, I mean, it might be tough to like keep it accurate to the game today. I think you'd still probably need to be like looking a little more back towards a slower, more manageable time.
I mean, because if we were doing live action modern Yu-Gi-Oh, then they would just sit at a table and just they just put their cards on the table. They do their little combos, and in 30 minutes, half the movie's over, and they finish one game.
Yeah, but I'd like to see it. Like, do you think show or movie? Live action show or movie?
I would call live action.
I want show, I think.
I would pick the movie. I don't know, because I would, if in case it's horrible, I'd rather it be one and done. If it's a show, that's a lot of episodes of.
Yeah, and then you have to deal with the sad news that it got like canceled for a second season. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, just make it a movie. So if it's bad, we can just write it. We can write it off and move on with our lives.
Yeah, no, okay. I mean, I'll take live action Yu-Gi-Oh. I think it could be done with the right people.
Paul has to play the Pharaoh.
Okay, let's see. I think I also have this one on my tablet. Does it bother you when you're at locals and really locked into a duel, thinking your play is through and situations, but your opponent doesn't seem to be as invested, like they pay more attention to what's happening around the shop than the duel in front of them?
Yes.
Yeah, I hate that. That happens a lot.
I think both players should be completely engrossed in the game that they have mutually agreed to play. Otherwise, why did you sit down?
Yeah, I'm same. I mean, I think it's kind of it's a kind of a respect thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm taking this as seriously as you are. I don't think that people are doing it maliciously. I think like for a lot of people, the card shop is like a relaxation social kind of thing. And so they don't see just sitting down to duel as the only thing to do. Like they're kind of, I'm mid-trade, I'm eating and drinking, I'm laughing at jokes, I'm talking to people, I have the phone beside me and it's playing a YouTube video.
I think some people disassociate because that's one of their coping mechanisms with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be such an infuriating game. If I'm not locked into it, I won't feel so bad when I get turn skipped.
Yeah, but I don't like when people aren't paying attention. I mean, I really feel that you should just. I mean, there's not much more to say about it than that.
Yeah, to each their own. Everyone can have their own opinion. I just would rather both players.
Yeah, I mean,
paying attention to what's happening.
That's actually one of the reasons I like Master Duel, because like they have to play. Like I don't have to kind of see them be distracted or whatever. I guess they can like run the clock a bit.
So when you play Master Duel, do you use your phone or go to other tabs or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I sure do. But I only do it when when it couldn't like slow my opponent down either way. Because like, if I have no hand traps and they're just going, then they don't know what I'm doing on the other end. So I'm not being disrespectful to them. At least that's how I see it in my head. Because like I can sit on my phone because like, well, they can't see me. But I think that if I was at the dueling table, like, you know, we're sitting across from each other, I do not pull my phone out in duels.
What if you have no hand traps, no responses?
I still do not pull out my phone.
You wouldn't walk and go get a snack?
No.
Wow.
I sit and I stare and I just patiently wait. Because I think that they deserve that. It's like you said, like, why did we sit down? Yeah. I am going to engage fully with this duel in person. But in Master Duel, I will pull out my phone and scroll.
Benefits of Master Duel, people.
Yeah, that's one of the perks. Anyway, cool. That's the questions for today.
All right, guys. That means that's a wrap for the Pot of Greed.
That is true. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh!
A lot of ranting going. And if you're not sick of our ranting yet, then the YouTube members will get a treat for our extra special episode.
Yeah, so stay tuned to that. But in order to access that, of course, you have to be a YouTube channel member. So you can hit join down below. It's only $2.99, I believe, right? It's not expensive.
It's whatever the lowest tier is on YouTube.
Yeah, so we'd appreciate it if you did. But until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.